And just like that, another year of baseball content begins. Welcome, everybody. It is MLB The Show 25. Here on Early Access, we are going to check out the game for the first time today and talk about my plans with MLB The Show this year. Thank you to PlayStation for sending me a copy of the game and for sending me a lot of really cool stuff in the launch box this year. I was pretty impressed. So we're going to dive into the game here. I'm going to show off some of the stuff they sent, by the way. This is an Ellie De La Cruz autograph baseball. I'm going to play my first game as the Reds today. But I'll be talking about my franchise team this year and just what I want to do on the game, some things I want to do differently. But I love how MLB The Show has become a regular part of the second channel. And we're going to keep it rocking this year. I have a new series in mind that we're going to be starting here probably over the weekend. And I've already kind of, I've talked about this in some areas, but my franchise team this year is going to be the Miami Marlins. And now I'm not going to be, playing with them today. I kind of like my franchise to be my first time getting to play with that team and really getting to know them. But I really feel like the Marlins offer the experience I'm looking for this year. I want a smaller team budget so that I can't really build a team through free agency. And I want a true draft and develop experience. I want a very homegrown roster. And with the shape of their current roster, farm system, and lower team budget, I mean, you just can't find a perfect fit this year. Even the Chicago White Sox. I mean, the Marlins have nothing, guys, outside of Sandy, Xavier Edwards, Yuri Perez, some good pitching prospects. The White Sox have a much better farm system, more current MLB level talent, and a higher team budget. The Marlins, to me, are the perfect team for this year. So that's going to be coming here shortly. There's a chance I fire this up even tomorrow because I don't know if there's any real reason to wait on launching the franchise. I don't think we have to wait for real life opening day. I guess there's opening day rosters, but if you think this opening day roster is going to be sticking around long in Miami, wow, I don't know about that. What's going on, everybody? I can't wait to play Road to the Show when I get home. Road to the Show looks really cool this year, and I would like to check it out. I'm not committing to a huge series, but I definitely want to play some and bring some content to the channel. But franchise is the top priority, and today we're going to be I want to play my first games. I haven't played MLB really since December. So get warmed up, get a feel for the game again, and just get ready to play. All I've done so far is recreate every year. I come in and I recreate my custom hitting camera and I try to make it as close to the previous, year as possible. And sometimes it's a little bit different, but I'm going to be playing with the Reds here in my first game. And let's get two of the cover athletes here. Do I really want my first game against Paul Skeens? Probably not, but that's just the way it's going to have to be here. All right. Yeah, I think the plan with Road to the Show is do some streaming and then just see if that turns into any videos rather than start doing Road to the Show on my own with just regular video content. I would like to stream it to check it out. I've been very all or nothing when it comes to a lot of the projects I do. Unless it's a big project, I seem that I can't really commit to even trying things out, and that's more so what I want to do. I want to play Road to the Show, see all the new stuff, but I don't necessarily want to drop 60 episodes, play a bunch of years, because time's limited, and I would certainly rather dedicate most of that to franchise mode. So yes, Early Access is out. PlayStation did hook me up with a copy this year. I really appreciate that. It was cool unboxing the launch box as well and seeing everything they threw in there. There's this lit up MLB The Show sign back there. I'm not really sure how well my camera can pick that up. But Let me resize. You can kind of see it back there. My camera doesn't do great with like light sources. I might need to get something newer here to maybe get a higher quality deal there. Let's see, where's the best spot to keep the camera here? Usually I like to put it right above the scoreboard here on the right side. That should be fine. Now let's get baseball season underway, everybody. I mean, we're getting opening day kind of, you know, isn't that tonight? First game of the year, the Dodgers and Cubs. Oh, it's the 18th. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the true release day seems to be when that's happening. 4 days from now, that'll be in Japan. But until then, let's play some MLB The Show, everybody. Here in 2025. And I have put in all of my usual gameplay settings. You'll notice I don't have like pinpoint pitching, a meter. When I'm hitting, there's no PCI. So if you're not familiar with my content at all, I definitely play these games a little more old school and a little more on the simulation side as I'm a franchise player. And I don't play these games very competitively. I play more for an experience, and to me, it's more fun when the player ratings are what really shines. Because who really cares how good I am? I'm not going to be, you know, one of the top players anyway. First AB of the year is a Hunter Green strikeout there on the 98-mile-per-hour fastball. And I'm sorry I haven't really been getting to the chat here as much, but I'll be paying more attention to what y'all have to say. Appreciate y'all being here. Got some videos I want to drop here on the game as we get the new season underway. Of course, a new franchise part 1 and then diving into that franchise further. But then also, thought about doing like a top 5 teams to rebuild video. Thought about going over some of the settings I play on because like the settings I play on are very much not out of the box. And I kind of wanted to break everything down and help piece together, you know. I think most of the people that watch my channel want things a little bit more on the realism side, but that doesn't mean that every single feature is like optimized for it. So, I mean, like there are things I do that aren't as realistic as some other options. I play on Hall of Fame difficulty. It's just what I feel like is ratings-based, challenging, and fun. But, I mean, there's, like, levels to it that I don't go with, like, auto-fielding and auto-throwing and just, you know, different things I don't really want to play with. I noticed they put in the pitch clock this year. I kind of doubt that I'll actually be using that, and I haven't even seen the clock. Maybe I'm not letting it get down enough. That's the first ball in play this year. Oh, McLean! Not in time to get Brian Reynolds at first base. Was the pitch clock there last year? Because I must have just turned it off and didn't notice it. I was going through and seeing some settings, and I'm like, man, I can't remember. Was that in last year's game or not? There is 2 sliders. There's simulator injury frequency and then gameplay injury frequency. And I'm like, at first, I'm like, oh, that's cool. They split it up. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't they already, you know, do that? Come on, Candelario. Can't get O'Neal Cruz. So that's going to be back-to-back on for the Pirates. I didn't see anything about pitch review and challenging. Yeah, in general, I pitch pretty fast, so the clock wouldn't be a huge factor. There were a couple settings I kind of wanted to play with and see what I preferred. McCutchen drives one to deep left. Will this one contain? There we go. And bluffing from second as we get 2 down. Game audio is very quiet. Let me double check that I didn't mute that track. Oh, sure enough. I'm sorry. How's the gameplay audio now? There is one presentation setting. So there was, quite a few things you can mess with in here. But by default, this presentation mode is on hybrid, which is kind of a blend between fast gameplay but showing you information too, different graphics. Well, I want to see what the broadcast presentation mode is like. So that's one thing that I changed. And then I wasn't sure about pitch selection camera, how I wanted to go with that one yet. So there are probably a couple settings I'm going to tinker with over the weekend and dial everything in then for my franchise. But I always love seeing various graphics popping up, league leaders, prospect stats. And that was one of the things they highlighted in the trailers leading up to launch. So give me all that you can. Oh, the slurve got him. Strike 3 looking. We put up a 0 here in our first inning. Am I playing the games this year? So I do always play the games here in this franchise. I don't on my rebuild franchises for Madden. I prefer to just be the GM. But in these series, yeah, I play. Do a lot of simulating as well. But yeah, it's a gameplay-driven series. And TJ Friedel will get us started. So, I get questions every year about my camera. And I take Fisheye 2 as my base. And then I drop it down a little bit. And this is, roughly how I position it every year. Basically the same camera. I'm way late at 101 there. I haven't swung here in a few months. I haven't been playing the show. Took a break from it. Wrapped up my Cardinals series in December. Yep, I thought that was going to go inside. First at-bat of the year is a strike 3 looking. Why the Reds? I'm just playing a game with the Reds here. Partially because Ellie's on the cover in my launch box from MLB. I got the Ellie De La Cruz autograph. My physical copy of the game had the Ellie card as well. So I'm like, all right, let's just play with the Reds. They're not my franchise team, though. I don't think you'll ever see me do back-to-back years in the same division. I like seeing different opponents. Ideally, I'd alternate leagues every year. But as I, have used teams and they're kind of set aside, and a lot of teams aren't even franchise, options usually for the type of rebuilds I want to do. Sometimes the best option is to stay in the same league, and that's where we are this year. Is I will be playing as the Marlins, but I'm not going to play with them until my franchise. Oh, I'm late again.
2-2.
Yeah, the NL has really good options overall. Really surprised I didn't swing at that one here. It's opening day. Usually I'm waving at that. Skeens, 3-2. I was in practice setting this camera up, and I was just taking some swings. And, every year the bat sounds to me sound a little bit different and, better than the previous year. I was setting up my camera with Nolan Gorman because I had a screenshot from my Cardinals franchise on 24, and I was just comparing side by side. And some of the swings there with the power of Gorman were pretty spectacular to listen to. So hopefully, if Skeens gives us something to work with, I can show you what that's all about. Yeah, we got a steal here. There's no way Ellie's standing at first base much longer. No problem. And that's with a 102 mile per hour fastball and a really good throw and no extra lead. You're just not getting him. It is kind of tempting to steal third, not going to lie. Here he goes. Low. He's safe. Oh, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe he got that tag. All right. A walk and 2 steals for Ellie. Can he score my first run of the year then? Oh, man. That's 2 strikeouts looking. Steal home. The Twins have a play they like to use to steal home. I saw it once or twice last year with Willie Castro. Oh, is the sweeper actually properly in the game now this year? Has it been in years past? Because I haven't really been... I've just been seeing sweeping curves and sliders. Is this more of a proper installation? What microphone do I use? This is the SM7B. The Shure SM7B. Very common in like streamer YouTube circles. All right. I don't like being behind in the count here against Skeens. Lucky to even just put the ball in play. And Skeens strikes out the side. So it's going to take a little bit before I might generate a lot of offense here, but maybe we can get to the Pirates bullpen and be in better shape for that. Yeah, so for in real life injuries, that's something I did last year in the Cards series. Like Sonny Gray was hurt right away, and a few different guys were on the injured list. So usually at the beginning of franchise, I can put in some of those injuries. But we are also going to move so quickly that they are barely going to factor into the series. So one thing I've done here on a couple different occasions is... You know, I compared the A's franchise to the Marlins and just, you know, the speed of uploading, episodes per season, just all these different numbers that I thought were relevant because I felt like, you know, the year where I focused on the A's was obviously a better series, a more popular series. And there were just so many things last year that I think contributed to the series not being as interesting. And I think the big one was just team choice. You know, I didn't pick a team that needed a massive rebuild. When I chose St. Louis, I actually thought that I'd have to replace most of the roster, but it ended up developing extremely well. Like, I got best case scenario for so many players, like Nolan Gorman, Jordan Walker, Brendan Donovan. So I knew this year, I'm like, all right, this has to be more of a draft and develop kind of year. And then I was looking last year, and I barely remember this for whatever reason. But I didn't even start my Cardinals franchise until 2 weeks after the game was out. Like, I know I was non-committal to doing a franchise at first. And then I did one. I started it late. Episodes didn't come out that frequently. And, you know, the meat of these series are going to be done here in spring through the summer, as we're just getting foul ball after foul ball right now. All right, try to blow them away here. There's Candelario. White Sox would be harder compared to the Marlins. See, I don't agree. They play in an easier division with a larger budget, better prospects, the ability to trade someone like Luis Robert. Under the glove of Ellie, and Ke'Bryan Hayes singles one through. Thanks for the stream, Kane. Any chance for an Out of the Park series? I'll have to think about that maybe next week or so, but I'm focused on the show right now, getting a new series off the ground there. Yeah, the White Sox are a great rebuild team, but the Marlins really fit everything I wanted this year. For a while, I wanted it to be the Rays, but I mean, their farm system ranking just came out as like a top 5 in the MLB. There's just, I think, still too much there to work with, although I really Friedel, no, I wanted to see what I could get away with here, and they're going to hold at third. But the Rays, to me, while they do have like an uphill climb when you're up against like the Orioles and the Yankees right now, and the Red Sox look like they have a pretty good future with a good farm system. The Rays do have a lot to work with, and I don't see them as like a bottom-feeding team, even if they're not great this year. I still think they're in the neighborhood of 80 victories. All right, this has been a long inning that we want over with here. Tommy Pham feels like he's on a new team every year. I really don't want this inning coming down to Brian Reynolds, so here's a strike. And you're getting another one. And that's going to be a 2-run single for Tommy Pham. Are you serious? Just a slow bleeder there through the middle. 74 off the bat. I don't want to pay taxes. Will you change that about me? Wrong game. And now the bouncer, that's more in McLean's range, and it's 2-0. How do I feel about the Twins this year? You know, I think it's easy to be like super pessimistic, but I do like the position the Twins are in right now, looking at the strength of the pitching in the organization. And now I really wish they would open the budget up a little bit further. You know, if they would spend another 10 to 20 million, you know, to me, a good offseason for them would have been like, instead of getting Ty France for cheap in free agency, see if you can give up one of these prospects and trade for a guy like Ryan Mountcastle or something. Like, bring in a more, you know, established, at least average first baseman, I thought would have been a nice move. And then consider, you know, another pitcher or just like another $10 million-ish investment. But I like where the farm system is, primarily. Now, it's the same story every year with the Twins because of so many guys with health concerns. Spencer Steer, left center, and there's the first hit of the year. And Steer's going to be in. Speaking of Twins, he was traded from the Twins to the Reds. And had they not made that move, he could be playing first base for Minnesota right now. But, you know, with Correa, Buxton, Royce Lewis, it's always about the health with these guys. And if they can stay moderately healthy, I mean, they got the number 3 prospect in baseball, who maybe doesn't factor into the team this year. But guys like Emmanuel Rodriguez could come up. Brooks Lee came up last year. Some intriguing pitching down at AAA still. So, you know, on one hand, I want to see them do more in free agency. On the other hand, like, playing time is going to be available for some really good players, I think. .103 reaching back here. Skeens picks up strikeout number 4. I personally will go with the Rays. I still think the Rays are excellent for franchise. And if I wasn't seeking this type of experience, like if I were coming off like back-to-back years of using the worst teams in the game and maybe I wanted something different, the Rays would be awesome. But like the Rays are really good if you want like a mid-tier team that has some prospects but needs more. Doesn't have like an established playoff caliber core. You know, on the surface right now, I mean, their win total right now, like the projected win total is, I think, like 81.5 or so. Is my first, really? My first runs of the year? I like that little graphic there. A Gavin Lux home run is how I start the year? Seriously? Well, I guess Lux is on my side today. I appreciated Paul Skeens for supplying the power there. I think he had a lot to do with that one traveling 428. What did we get there? That was a 102 mile per hour fastball, basically right down the middle. My first was with Max Schumann on the A's. I love it.
Yes. No ball.
That gets a like. I earned it there. I really appreciate that.
No.
Can't escape the Dodgers. Yeah, they've just sent him to the Reds. I assume that was a trade, or was he DFA'd? Feels like the Gavin Lux talk was happening every year. Is this the year he breaks out? Because so many people were so sure he was like the next big thing there in LA. But perhaps signing Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Sasaki, that can probably cushion the blow a little bit from that not working out. Thoughts on the Orioles? I mean, they're an excellent team. Got to replace a couple guys with, Corbin Burns gone, and one of my favorites there, Anthony Santander. But they got an amazing core, and you're going to see even more guys come up, still. The one I'm banking on is Samuel Basayo, who's like a top 10 or a fringe top 10 prospect. He's a 20-year-old catcher. Might play first base. He's got some serious power. He's on my Dynasty fantasy team, too. So I'm really hoping he comes up soon and makes an impact. Thoughts on the A's? So, the A's have actually been doing some interesting things lately. They signed Luis Severino to the biggest contract in total value in team history. They also extended Lawrence Butler just last week. They're definitely far out, but there are some intriguing guys on that team. If you watch my A's franchise, you're probably familiar with a few of the names, like Tyler Soderstrom, who was one of their top prospects and now is, entering, I think, a second full year at the bigs. They're rebuilding a core right now, and guys like Soderstrom, Butler could kind of speed that process along. But they definitely tried this offseason. They do, at least you tried. Yeah, Zach Geloff, of course, didn't have as great of a year last year. He, his first few weeks in the majors back in 23 were phenomenal, but were not quite matched last year. Yeah, Mason Miller, I mean, he's got to be the most electric reliever in the league to watch right now. He's so fun. Really hope they don't trade him anytime soon. Just joined. Did you announce the team? Yes, I will be playing as the Miami Marlins this year in franchise. And we should be starting up that series this weekend. Unless there's, for some reason, I find a good enough reason to say it's not time yet to start franchise. I guess I want to see the rosters, what they look like. I'm not sure when they were last set. You're staying put. Hey, Kane, trying to find a rebuild team that's in win now mode, but if it doesn't happen in year 1 or 2, I should probably blow it up. Any ideas? See, I think those kinds of franchise teams are also really interesting. You're above average, but still, not complete teams. That description to me sounds like the Padres. You got to face, the Dodgers. The NL is very competitive. A lot of expensive contracts on that team. Different guys like Xander Bogaerts, who, Bogaerts already 32 years old. He's not going to be top of his game, forever. You want to make the most of it while you've got a younger Tatis. Yu Darvish still in his prime. Luis Ariz.
That's the ball. 3-2.
Not many quick at-bats here in this game. Yeah, the financial situation, like it being like potentially, you know, troubling with their budget, then that only adds to them being a good franchise team, because you could make a run in year one, but you know that if you don't win in year one, then maybe it gets tougher a little bit if you're not making big time, you know, additions and replacing certain guys who might be aging out of the lineup a bit. You got a really fun catcher prospect if you choose them, and Ethan, how do you pronounce his last name properly? Salas? I remember Greg Salas. He went to Hawaii. Wide receiver. He was drafted like 12 years ago. Same spelling. All right, we got it tied at 2, and in front of Fraley has to catch it on the bounce. Pirates take the lead. Yeah, I'm really curious about a lot of the new free agent logic and if teams are going to make better decisions overall. You know, on trading for certain contracts. Like, I was seeing some trades that I didn't think made sense. There were definitely some really, you know, bad trades and some early screenshots I was seeing. So if they do anything here in the first month or so, I hope that trade logic can be looked at. But I'm really curious to see some of the offseason signing logic, because that's where the franchise attention was placed this year. And they have a system now that borrows a lot of the mechanics from the scouting system, where you have 3 things you're focused on. In the offseason, you're going to have 3 free agents at a time you can focus on. And like the scouting players, the prospects, you have to increase their interest in coming to your team, and managing it will be similar to scouting. And we're supposed to see players demand a lot larger contracts, and it just looks like a much more fun free agent system. So I'm excited to interact with that. Although with Miami being 1, bad, 2, a team that doesn't spend, I'm not sure it's the best team to showcase free agency with. Yeah, that's in year 1 in my series. I like to have the trade slider 0, just so nothing really crazy happens like right away. As time goes on, you know, I loosen it up, and if weird trades happen in like year 2, year 3, it doesn't feel nearly as bad. But, ooh. If I drop it down right away, maybe there'll be an update that can improve it, and then I bump it up around the trade deadline or something. I was just a little bit late on that curve.
1 ball, no strike.
Yeah, I was seeing that as well in that in the re-signings or the signings in free agency. You weren't able to like front or backload the contracts or offer options. So, like, there was some cool depth added, but I definitely didn't want to lose. I think those are a really cool thing to use in franchise, and the options do, you know, play a part in a lot of the offers I make. Ah, I knew I shouldn't have swung at that one, but 3-2 now.
Leading off for the Pirates, shortstop Isaiah Kiner Falefa.
Dante Fowler to the Cowboys. They're just collecting all these, like, old first-round picks.
That's out the corner.
I'm not sure I'm going to have too many more innings here with Hunter Green. They're not giving me any, like, two-pitch outs. I haven't thought too much about the stadium situation for Miami. I really enjoyed building the one for the A's. I don't know if I want to go and build another one this year or use something that's available for download, but I guess it is an option. Can't wait for the franchise. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I'm really excited to get it started soon, and I want a much faster start than what I had last year with the cards. Like, even I think there was like a 5-day gap between episode 1 and episode 2, and the first video didn't even drop until 2 weeks after the game was out. I look back and it's like, what was I doing? I know part of it is, like, I was still doing the Raiders franchise when the game came out. And right now, I still have my Jaguars franchise going on the second channel, but I imagine we're going to have that series wrapped up, I would think, sometime in April. You know, I assume it's going to play out that way. But, like, the Cards franchise last year, it never got, like, any time to be the main focus of the channel. I was always doing something else, whether it be Madden or CFB 25. So this year, I know I want, like, June on the channel to be all about my Marlins franchise, and I would like for a lot of May to be all about the franchise. So we'll see when the Jaguars series gets wrapped up and how much more of it we end up doing. But the other thing, too, was, like, the rate of uploads in the A's series was really good. And, you know, I consider, like, the prime time for these franchises to be basically from launch to the beginning of September. Because that's when NFL season comes back. That's when my MLB content tends to take a dip. And it's when I want to work on football stuff. Because I'm mainly a football guy. So everything up until September in the A's franchise, I was getting a new video out, I believe it was every 2.5 days on average. Whereas in the Cards series, it was a full day more at 3.5. So 2 a week, you know, 2 every 7 days. And it just didn't allow us to make enough progress overall. Not to mention, like, we started making the postseason in the Cards franchise, I believe, in year 2. That's going to be fair. Jake Fraley into the corner. Down the line for a double, and we have a runner in scoring position. Angels, White Sox, Rockies for franchise. Oh, man, all are really good. I will say, like, if you want to be able to have some fun in free agency, but you also want a challenge, like the Angels, they are not a very good team. Trout's getting a lot older. He's missed a lot of time. And they have one of the worst rated farm systems, but being an LA team, they're going to spend some money. So the Angels, I think, are an awesome choice this year to, like, play around with the new free agency mechanics, while also having to basically construct an entire new team.
No, that's a ball. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Oh, no, I didn't even miss it. That's just, you know, sometimes the luck of the draw. on these settings. Man. He just missed it.
Now batting.
If you do Road to the Show, it needs to be an NFL player from one of your series living an alternate timeline. You know, I usually do stuff like that, so I haven't really thought of the perfect player yet. I guess third base was kind of what I wanted to play. Starting pitcher also sounds fun. Been a while since I've played starting pitcher Road to the Show. Please get to the seats, thank you. No, I'm not doing a Reds franchise. I'm just playing a game with the Reds. This is my first game this year. I am doing my franchise with the Miami Marlins. I'm just going to pin a comment because people want to know. There. And I can pin message like that. Tim Cannon, Road to the Show.
2-2.
I haven't finished his Road to Glory. I wanted to do a senior year, and then we got so close to this game, I'm like, well, I don't really want to dedicate the time to that right now. I still like to wrap it up, though, sometime when things die down, but it's the start of baseball. This is going to get a lot of my attention. The E.J. Colson, Road to the Show. Oh, man. Skeens is tough, as you'd expect. I think that's 7 or 8 strikeouts. Thankfully, I'd like to think we can get someone else out there soon. Okay, what's the button for bullpen control? Right on the D-pad. All right. This interface here is a little bit different. I know they changed up a lot of the menus. Might be fun to just get into a mess around franchise and just kind of explore the menus and take a look at things. Twins favorite, Emilio Pagan. I mean, his last year in Minnesota ended up being really good. Everything prior to that, though, was a colossal mess. I changed up the settings where people warm up in the bullpen. Yeah, there is a setting to like have the CPU do it for you, but I don't prefer that as all. I'm going to warm up. I'll get Pagan in the game later. How do I feel about the new free agency? Seems to restrict franchise a little. Well, I haven't played around with it. The main thing I don't like is the loss of like club options and front and back loading of contracts. I'm guessing it was to like streamline the feature and make it just really easy to compare like years, dollar value against all these other factors and not, you know, have options, you know, factored into it. It should be there. Like, they really need to put that back in. It never feels good to lose any functionality that we already have. But I overall am excited to play with it because having to kind of not just offer a contract, but go through that free agent process and get them interested in your team and compete against teams in that way, while players are seeming to ask for more money this year. Like, I'm looking forward to playing around with it. I just haven't yet. A slow one again for McLean. Can't wait for the series. Your MLB content is always top tier. I appreciate that, Leo, and the new series shouldn't be too far away. What are my first impressions of the gameplay, asks Christopher. You know, MLB The Show to me always feels good every year. Like, I really like the way the game feels. Now, on my settings, I don't know. I know there's some new features with like the ambush hitting and everything. So I don't always get to play around with the new mechanics because I just play my way. but it feels familiar, feels good. I haven't played enough to really notice any stark differences yet.
Ball 2. 2-1. 3 balls. 1 strike. Whew. 3 balls.
72 pitches for Skeens. We could be looking at 6 innings. Unless Gavin Lux can knock him out of this game. He already has a 2-run homer. My favorite non-superstar I've drafted in MLB. I mean, last year I had Daryl Marino. In the previous game I had Aaron Don. I'm not sure if either were really superstars. They're both fun to play with, though. I mean, Aaron Don is one of my favorite play styles. Like a contact first, speedy outfielder. Always been a fan of those guys. You know, often these games come out and I spend the first couple days just like streaming. I'm doing that today, obviously, but I imagine I'll be looking into starting up a franchise possibly tomorrow. I have a few video ideas I could also get going. And, you know, the gameplay I'm grabbing here will help. Like, do you guys think it would be cool to do a video where I go through, like, all the settings that I play on for, like, a more realistic play style, although I don't go all the way? I could kind of show the differences between various settings. Might be a little tedious to put together, but it could also be really cool for those that, wow. TJ Friedel! He's an astronaut! We're going to the moon! Another 2-run shot. A pair of 2-run homers have given us the lead on Paul Skeens and the Pirates. Random question. When pitching on Classic, do you just tap the button or hold for the whole animation? I seem to get better results holding. I don't know. Yeah, I guess in my head, I'm not even sure what I've been doing today. So I was getting feedback because I was getting shelled early in the franchise last year. And I'm like, what is going on with the pitching? And so I was getting told that there was like a hidden timing mechanic and you want to let go of the pitch. Like the button you use to pitch, you want to let that go like when the pitcher is actually releasing the ball. And so I just kind of started doing it. I think it became muscle memory. I probably won't be able to answer this question until I'm back pitching again and I see what I do. Because at this point, you know, I'm all muscle memory. I feel MLB does the best job of making attributes feel like they matter, which is why I've always enjoyed the games so much. Like, when I feel my games are, like, representing player ratings, that's when I'm, like, fully invested in player development, growing a team. It's why I started doing franchise rebuilds on Madden, so the ratings would matter more. I'd rather not play and have the ratings matter more than play and feel like the ratings don't have enough impact. Yeah, I'm taking that inside pitch a lot. That's 10 strikeouts for Skeens.
Second baseman, Matt McClain.
And he is going to exit.
Now pitching
So,
for
Skeens
Israel.
comes out, and here is Joey Wentz.
Joey Wentz.
Man, a lefty who's really tough on righties, but lefties seem to do all right against him. 167 against righties.
Oh, 2. Ball. 1 ball. 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think that settings video would be cool. I don't go for, like, maximum realism. Like, there's plenty of things I put on that are less realistic. Like, the ball tracking in fielding. Like, I still have, like, the landing zone on there, like, the strike zone on screen. But I could show all the settings and be like, all right, here's all your options. Here are the most realistic. And here's what I use.
Ball 4.
Drawing that walk. What made you choose the Marlins? They really just check so many boxes. They're not a very good team,
1 ball.
but
No strike.
my main focus this year was somebody that I could draft and develop their farm system so that when I'm in my franchise, you know, the team is largely comprised of players I drafted. So I didn't want a team with a really good farm system. I also didn't want to just be able to plug all the holes in free agency.
Leading off
So I
is
wanted a
Pittsburgh
smaller
first
budget to
baseman
work with.
Billy Cook.
And the Marlins, I think, have about an average, you know, farm system, a very below average current roster. And then they have a very small budget at like $75 million.
Sam Lowe.
About $25 million less than the White Sox budget, by the way. Yeah, the Marlins team is so young. If you go on like Fangraphs or something that shows you the like MLB experience for everybody on their team, like their lineup, their 1 through 9, it's like 12 years of combined major league experience. It's so young. Can Hayes, I really thought about it. The best thing the Marlins have going for them right now is Sandy and Yuri Perez. They have some good prospects, Noble Meyer. But as far as position players, it really feels like Xavier Edwards and everybody else. And I have some familiarity with Xavier Edwards because I had traded for him in my Rockies series. So get to play with him again. And that series was like 3-4 years ago. And reaching out. That'll be Candelario across.
Now batting shortstop Isaiah Tyler
The most
Falefa.
experienced hitter for the Marlins is Derek Hill with like 3 years of service time. Yeah, they're not going to have any position players hit free agency in like the next 5 years, probably. Between like guys getting replaced, who's already on the roster. So in my head, like, I have a chance by year 3 or 4 to have already brought up a lot of my prospects to be taking on starting roles. And I'd love to have that experience. Got him. Yeah, they really can't go bonkers in free agency with a $75 million budget. I mean, your options are so ridiculously limited.
Right fielder, Jake Fraley.
What do we got for pinch hitters? It's my substitution. So left on the D-pad brings up the options here. We got CES, Espinal, Stuart Fairchild, Jose Trevino. I do like here on the player cards now, they show you where a player was drafted. That'll be really nice for me in franchise, as I always forget information like that. I have not seen anything about MLB debut patches in franchise. Yeah, I think after this game, we'll go into franchise mode and mess around a little bit. And then maybe get into another game. Will I end up trading Sandy? You know, that's probably... It feels a little bit like starting my Rockies series, where it's like, well, are you going to trade Trevor Story? And I ultimately did. And then the Rockies in real life just let him walk. So that was kind of bizarre. But... do they at least, like, get a pick when they lost Story, like a qualifying offer situation?
No ball. One strike.
Do you hold the button down when you pitch or just tap? You know, I forgot again. Let me strike out a couple times, and I'll let you know here in a few minutes. Yeah, it depends, you know, the contract and the years and how the first couple seasons go towards being competitive. They got absolutely nothing for Story. Well, they got a good 6-year run, right? I remember, like, his rookie season, and that was a fun core they had in Colorado at the time. I think that might have been the last time they made the postseason. With guys like Carlos Gonzalez. And, you know, like Charlie Blackmon in his prime. Arenado, Story. I think Tulowitzki was already long gone from that core, though. It's changed a lot in about 5-6 years. In your franchise, how many games do you play versus Sim? So, I mean, there's no, like, number of games that I target to play. It's more so, like, I'm trying to play when there's something interesting to do, you know? Like, it's always fun to play opening day. It's fun to see your rivals and to, like, try out different players and top prospects. But what I started to do toward the end of the Cardinals franchise was less full games and more critical situations and player lock games, because it gave us a lot more to, like, I thought it was a more efficient use of time. To instead of me going through a full game for like 30 minutes, to instead be going through a bunch of ninth inning situations, player locks, and just getting, it felt like a lot more interesting reps that way. And as we play 162 games, I mean, I don't think that I want to do a ton of full games, especially early in a series, when we're mainly just trying to evaluate the roster and see what we have for the future. So that's going to be the biggest change, I think, getting off to the start here in the Marlins franchise. Like, I'll be playing some full games, you know, opening day, and I'm sure at least a few others. But much of my focus is just going to be player lock, let's go check on some prospects, and less full 9-inning games.
Now batting, left fielder.
I'd love to see top prospect moments pop up. I think that would be awesome. to just, you know, throw people those situations and be like, hey, your number 3 prospect has been having a really good month. And, you know, right now he's 2 for 2 with 2 homers. Do you want to play the rest of this game? So I just had a pitch clock violation. I wasn't really paying attention. I probably won't use the pitch clock. I don't think it really adds anything to my series. Because, you know, if pace of play weren't a concern, it wouldn't even exist in real life. The pace of play in my franchise, that's called editing. Oh yeah, I have to see what I'm doing. What am I doing? All right. All right. I'm locked in, guys. I'm going to throw a fastball in. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of letting go. I'm definitely not holding it to the point of release. I'm letting go earlier than that. Like, I'm going to throw a fastball here. I know you probably can't even see what I'm doing right now. It's kind of like until the vibration stops and his arm is all the way back. So not so much when the arm is coming forward, but yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't think there's anywhere in the game that talks about this. It was just something in my comment sections. And sometimes, I guess, I don't think I do the same thing every time. I'm going to throw a fastball above the zone here. I'm going to tap right here and then tap again as he releases. As I strike out O'Neal Cruz. So do with that information what you must, you know. I don't know. It's clearly in my head. I'm doing something with it.
Number 64, Caleb Ferguson. Leading off for the Reds.
All right, Gavin Lux, you did well, but we are going to pinch hit.
Pinch hitting for the Reds, number 33, Christian Encarnacion Strand.
Does the minor league schedule actually have critical situations? I guess I've never simmed from that menu. I was given that one, man. My first game in a few months, so hopefully I can pick up some of these fastballs a little bit better soon. I haven't heard anything about, like, A-level teams, just double, triple, and major leagues. Let me check on my pen here. I want, yep, Emilio Pagan is going to be put into the game. When you hold the button, harder pitch is all. Yeah, so,
1 and 2.
you know, if you are really in a key spot and it's an important pitch, you can just hold the button the entire time, and I think it uses up more energy, but it's kind of like, you know, a risk-reward payoff there. You're trying to do a little bit extra to make the perfect pitch. You know, you don't hear a lot about the classic pitching these days because it's not a skill-based mechanic at all. It's not used online. I don't think most people use classic pitching. It's not the default option, so you have to go out of your way to use it. And I do every year. I mean, I used the meter for a while in, like, my Rockies franchise. And, you know, for many years I used the meter. I got familiar with it in MVP 2004 and then just kept using it. But I was finding in a lot of my series that it felt like because I was having a good day with the meter and I was consistent, that, you know, lower rated pitchers were, you know, performing extremely well. And I'm like, well, I don't really want it to be up to how good I am at the meter. I want it to be about their ratings, so when they stink, I have a reason to replace them.
Now batting, the center fielder, TJ.
I'm going to have at least 15 strikeouts in this game. I love the bat sounds. There's nothing wrong with using the meter if that's what you like. It's just I don't use it anymore.
That's the ball. No, that's the ball.
Oh yeah, I want to hear the bat sounds in the high school and college part of Road to the Show. That would be awesome with the metal bat.
Strike. Woo. 2-1. Strike. Woo.
I do not know the World Series win animation or anything like that. I don't really go out of my way to watch that stuff on YouTube, and I've done very little in the game to this point. This is my first game. I have not done much with Ellie. And that's why.
No ball.
I'm late at 94. I think I was not late that time, but I shouldn't have swung. Oh, I was that late? I didn't think so.
Ball 1 ball, 2 strikes.
If you haven't already done so, please leave a like on the stream. That would be very helpful. As Ellie goes down looking, and that might be my last at-bat with him. Unless we give up a run at some point here. And you know what? With Emilio Pagan, you never know.
Number 15, Emilio Pagan. Leading off for Pittsburgh, the designated hitter, Andrew McCutcheon.
Get that cutter going. There we go. Yeah, the Angels would definitely be a good rebuild. They have one of the lowest ranked farm systems. They're still not in any type of shape to be all that competitive. Got an aging Mike Trout. What's Anthony Rendon's status right now? Is he healthy enough to play?
Ball. 2 balls, 1 strike.
I think I dove too early. Could have taken a step and maybe gotten a dive a little bit further there.
Now batting, first baseman, Billy Cook.
Rendon is out 3 to 4 more months. That might as well be the whole year.
Now batting, second baseman, Nick Gonzalez.
That's the ball.
I've heard there's no generic players at all. You're talking about with like the minor leaguers, and sometimes you have like random generic players in there. I haven't really taken a look. But like I said, we're going to go into franchise mode after this and look at some things. Hopefully we don't have extra innings or anything. I just want this to be like a nice casual game first of the year. No, I don't use any dynamic settings. I just play Hall of Fame everything, and that's the way it's been for the last few series.
Now pitching for Pittsburgh, number 50, Carmen Majinski. Leading off for the Reds.
I wouldn't mind one more insurance run.
McLean.
And Matt McLean laces a single to left. There we go. Nice connect on a fastball again. It had been a few innings.
Up next for the Reds, catcher Tyler Stevenson.
I got to warm up Diaz, too. Already at an 89 win percentage. Yes, but that is also an 11% loss percentage.
One ball, one strike. Nope, ball two.
Good slider.
Up next for the Reds, right fielder
Jake
Fraley.
Fraley. I do have a hit with him. Yeah, I think I might have to do at least, I'll show my settings for sure. If I make this full video kind of breaking everything down, that'll be if I, you know, think that's the priority here early on. But I will show everything I have. I can even in this video, in this stream. I appreciate the super chat, Michael. Yeah, I can show off just the settings if you want to see them. We'll get it dialed in. All right, let's get Alexis Diaz in there and try to pin this one down. 28 of 32 in save opportunities last season.
Leading off for Pittsburgh.
Got the bottom of their order up, so, you know, it should be favorable. Yeah, I think most of the time when I'm pitching now, I, like, for instance, here, I'm going to throw a fastball. I'm hitting X now, and then about as he released it, yeah. So tapping it once and then tapping it again as he's releasing. Or if, like, you know, it's a 3-0 here and I'm just like, I'm going to throw a fastball down the middle. I hold it the entire time, and then you get that vibration when the pitch is released in that case. That pitch right there with, like, the tap, pause, tap method, there's no vibration, so no feedback. And that's going to be up there for TJ Friedel. I don't even know if it is necessary, but at this point here, I don't have to think about it. So it's not even extra effort. My body's on autopilot.
Now batting, shortstop Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
You know, for the Rockies, relatively short history. They have a pretty good 30 years of offensive talent and great players. I feel like, you know, through all the eras that I've lived through, the Rockies have had a fun core, and now it's like, all right, what's the next one? I remember Larry Walker and Todd Helton. Can't say I remember a lot of the other players off the top of my head right now. Got him! 96. Yeah, I think the Rockies should just go with a complete knuckleball pitching staff. Like, how do you combat the altitude? Make it absolutely miserable to face the Rockies. That's how. Nice. Painted that one. And strike two on Tommy Pham. And we're going to go up and in here. and try to end things. And it's inside. That's sent down the line. No! Tommy Pham ties it! No! I said the one thing I don't want is extra innings potentially. Down to their last strike, Tommy Pham sends out the game-tying homer. 91.2 off the bat, 352 feet. Got to root for my Hawks in the last Bulls video. Was a little sweeter knowing you're a Gopher fan. Yes, for some reason those Iowa games don't tend to go my way very often, so I hope you enjoyed that one. Yeah, that wasn't quite where I wanted the fastball to end up, believe it or not. Happens. So, we're going to have to try to end it a little bit differently then, but we will go to the bottom of the ninth. All tied up, thanks to Tommy Pham's heroics. Jeimer Candelario is going to lead off. 7, 8, 9. What are the chances here we win this in 9 innings then? Do you believe? They haven't put in David Bednar. I should warm up somebody for a potential 10th. I was late.
1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ball 3.
Good take, right? Laying off that one. 3-1. Do we get anything here? Borderline pitch. That was actually timed up, I think, a little bit better. But strike 3 and 2 really good pitches to close that at-bat out. Yep. That was good timing. I'm happy with that. Way early on that sweeper. Glad that thing is actually in the game as a sweeper now. It's not fun to face, though.
2-1.
I do like the stance here for Encarnacion Strand.
Ball 3.
His name is too long to even fit in the video game? Or sometimes players change up the name they want to be listed at, though. And that's in the corner. Bouncing off the right field wall and flying into second. We're in there. Do we run for him now? So if we need to, we could get back to the top of the lineup. If I run Fairchild, he's a little bit slow. Or no, Fairchild's faster. A lot faster. And yeah, he's only DHing, so. All right, Fairchild is a base hit away. Austin Hayes, the former Oriole. I'm glad that's foul. Ugly. My first perfect perhaps. Maybe my Gavin Lux homer was a perfect. But the 113 mile per hour ground out, not welcome. All right, top of the order. It's TJ Friedel. Ellie is on deck if we can get to him or if we need to get to him. Now, I'm hoping I don't have to download a roster for prospects. They kind of take care of that in-house now. They really bailed me out on that foul ball. No! Throw it away! All right, we're playing on. Did I forget to warm somebody up? Probably. All right, Scott Barlow is going to get up. One more batter, Diaz. One more batter. You know, I feel like they do a much better job these days of, like, keeping us informed of the prospects, and they just feel like more of an exciting part of the game. Like, growing up, I didn't think about prospects 1 second. I didn't even know who they were. Feels like guys can make the move to the bigs earlier now. And I feel like the average fan knows a lot more, even on just like base level information on prospects now versus 20 years ago. All right. If we walk them, it's not the worst outcome. All right, just a bit inside there, and we're going to change over to Scott Barlow and get this 10th inning rolling.
Now pitching for the Reds, number 58, Scott Barlow.
Good block. You think this is the year for Pete Crow Armstrong? Yeah, I'm excited to see a lot of these prospects. There are some names I've been hearing for a few years, and then a little more familiar with some of the newer prospects. But I think it really helps seeing a lot of guys, you know, look at the cover athletes, for instance. All three of those guys were, you know, called up relatively recently and became superstars quickly. And that makes it more interesting to buy into the next crop of prospects. Rather than just feel like every prospect is this, like, 6-year waiting game. Feels more worth the time getting to know him now.
Now batting, first baseman Billy Cook.
Knocked down, covering, no! They got their run. Finally, the extra inning runner stores. All right, 2-2, and it's gonna die in shallow center, and that's another run. This is a problem. Candelario finally putting an end to it, but we need 2. The easiest way for us to get 2 is for Ellie to launch one right here. A walk and 2 stolen bases is how we open this game, and Ellie has not done much since. But now bottom 10. My swing was better in the first 5 innings. Out in front of the curve. I'm sorry, Ellie.
Up next for the Reds, second baseman, Matt McLean.
Early again. Curveball timing is way off. How's the game so far? I'm enjoying it. Nice pick. We're going to check out some more stuff inside of franchise mode here when this game's wrapped up, and we could be 1 at-bat away. So another thing here with my Marlins franchise getting started up here soon is that I do want to bring back some level of streaming like I did back in the A's franchise. You know, we don't play all games, all 162 or anything, but streams are a fun way to like get a few more played. It's a little bit different content, and those streams did really well for the series when I did those with the A's. When those streams on, obviously give me a chance to talk more about the team with everybody, and they've been really good for adding more subscribers to the channel, so that's another reason to do it. But it can also just be a way for us to get games in with prospects and just see more of the team. And then the key events that happen in those streams can go into episodes. And it's just a way to add on more stuff without really extending the length of seasons too much. Because streams are rather easy. I can do a stream in less time than I can making most videos. All right, so there is my first game of the year in the books. It doesn't go our way, but, you know, get prepared for more of that. We're playing as the Marlins this year, so there's going to be at least 1 or 2 triple-digit losing seasons, I would think. So let's dive a little bit here into franchise. I'm going to fill up my water quick, so I will be right back, everybody. Well, one of the rare games that still has a demo mode, right?
Outside with a breaking ball. Rarely will you see a
Martin Perez, the former Twin, against Willie Castro.
Every pitch needs to have a purpose so that it can set up a following pitch to help you get that out.
Was there some music, Kenny, in the intro? Well, I'll have to cut it out then. Thank you for letting me know, because obviously I wasn't here to see what they were playing. Yeah, I can go in the stream though afterwards, and I can just like cut out the entire time I was gone there. Not a big deal. What's going on, Mike? Glad you can make it to the stream. How you doing, Iggy? What kind of music do you listen to, Kane? These days, mostly a lot of rock. A lot of stuff from like the 2000s. Some older. Not a ton newer. You know, I kind of wanted to see some of those. I guess I can see rosters plenty in franchise modes. So let's take a look. So whatever rosters are the most current, and as I just mess around here, I'll just take over the Twins. You know, this is just going to be for messing around anyway and to take a look at some menus. So not too worried about it. Got the custom game entry, of course. This was introduced last year, I believe. That, you know, was definitely nice to use in the Cards franchise. And we'll be back again in my Marlins series this year. Yeah, let's start it off here in spring training at least, just so it doesn't cut down the rosters at all. But, yeah, here are my Twins anyway. Buxton, Correa, 87 each. Royce Lewis, 85. Pablo Lopez. You know, Twins are a decent mid-tier team if you want to take over them for franchise with a lot of interesting prospects. Got the likes of Walker Jenkins here is their #1 prospect, third in all of baseball right now. And then guys like Emmanuel Rodriguez are really close. I think Rodriguez has more power upside than that, but that's where his ratings are. He probably has good enough potential to still unlock pretty good power, so not too concerned with that. Some pitchers here I'm also intrigued with. I wonder how good they are in game. I got Zebby as a 70. That feels really good. 66 for Simeon Woods Richardson. I thought he showed better than that last year. But I guess we'll see if he can follow it up. Yeah, Marco Rhea is one that kind of went down a little bit from last year. And then, yeah, Matt Canarino, he's a guy that has had a lot of trouble staying healthy with them. Where's, I'm looking. Yeah, I'm intrigued with Andrew Morris. Now, he might not be relevant in your franchise, but I've been reading a lot of really good stuff about Andrew Morris. We'll see if he can outplay this in real life. So that's the Twins, you know. Let's go look at some of the other top players here. Just Yordan Alvarez, 92, Jose Altuve. Here are the Angels. Mike Trout's still really good. Zach Neto, the young guy, now a couple years into his career. Yusei Kikuchi. I mean, 5 guys above an 80 on the entire roster. Yeah, they're great for franchise, for those of you wondering. Brent Rooker's a 90. Man, Mason Miller, 88. Lawrence Butler, 81. Yeah, I tried to get Butler to do this in my series, but he just did not perform that well at the majors. What's Rendon? I'm setting the over-under at 66.5. What is Anthony Rendon's overall? I'm saying 67. I'll go slight over. What do we got? $62. 62 overall. I thought maybe I passed him and missed. I mean, he hasn't been good in 5 years. Two more years. 2 more years. By the way, that money right there, 32 and 37 million, that is around half of the entire Miami Marlins budget. So is there a good spot to see that here in franchise? I know you can on the other menus. Like here are the Twins who have, does it just show, you know, $150 million in player commitments for this year? I can't cycle through other teams on this menu. But 173 million in total revenue. So there's available budget here for the Twins. They do give you a pretty good cushion here to do more than the real life teams are. Yeah, I guess I'll save this quick, but I wanted to back out and show you what the Marlins are working with. So on this screen here, or actually I have to start new. So they'll say the Twins have a $166 million team budget. That is approximately double what the Marlins have. $75 million. So the Miami Marlins can afford a little more than 2 Anthony Rendones. And that's the whole team. $75.5 million budget. At least they're fast, right? And they have a cool AAA mascot. So there are some things to work with. The jumbo shrimp. What's the lowest budget? I would be shocked if there's anything lower than that. The Angels, for instance, I talked about them being a little bit different. $230 million. So, you know, the Rendon contract hurts, but it's like 12 or 13% of their budget. If that were the Marlins, it would be close to 50. The A's. The Athletics don't even have a city. They're just called the Athletics Baseball Club now. And they have a $112 million budget. The Seattle Mariners spend a good $100 million more than Miami. Miami, by the way, is competing with Atlanta, who's a perennial World Series contender with a $250 million budget. The Mets will spend $364. 5 Marlins fit into the Mets payroll. Like 5 full Marlins budgets. The Phillies spend $320. The Nationals spend $102 and are also rebuilding, and they have a whole lot more to work with the young guys that they've been accumulating the last handful of years. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Marlins are the lowest budget team possible. The White Sox are pretty low. I don't think Jeter is attached to the organization at all anymore. Do you hold down the button when pitching or tap it? So I tap it like to first initiate the pitch, and then I tap it again when the pitcher is releasing. We figured it out. I hold it if I want it to be like, you know, like holding the entire time. If it's a pitch I'm really trying to nail the spot, or I want a little extra on it, it's like a risk-reward deal there. So, yeah, I was going through some of these rosters. You see some of the superstars and really good players. You know, the elite of the elite are 90-plus overall. Let's get to the Miami Marlins. Eventually. The Nationals have nobody above 79 Nathaniel Lowe. Nobody else. The Marlins have an 81 in Yuri Perez. There's Sandy Alcantara. There's Braxton Garrett, who I think is supposed to be hurt for a while this year. He's on my dynasty team. I got like half my pitchers hurt, so I forget the timetable on everybody's recovery. But I should be able to create injuries when I get into my actual franchise. So I know there's like a series of things you gotta do. Yeah, I forget. How do I create an injury out of thin air? There is a way to do it in past games. I would assume it's still in this game, but it's kind of a weird thing to do. Injury management has to be on manual. It is on manual. Gameplay settings? Yeah, this is franchise settings. Let's go to gameplay. It's a strange deal. If I make that settings video, I'm gonna have to just like show it in here too. Where is it? It's the setting that allows me to create injuries in franchise and edit them. Go to edit player. I don't know if it's an edit player. I don't remember it ever being there. Skipped it in general. General settings. All right, injuries. On, manual, or off. Like you would think it's an on or off slider, right? Manual. Injuries can be applied within the injured list screen. What a bizarre, I don't know, it just feels weird keeping it there. But then, if there's like a key injury, like unfortunately Garrett Cole's going to be out for the whole year with Tommy John, right? So I would go here, and if I hit R1, L1, now I can manage injury. And I can give Garrett Cole a stomachache. Okay? I can give Garrett Cole a stomachache. I can also remove that injury. Now, it's a little bit weird, like setting up, you know, I guess you can choose the injury and then how long a player is going to be out. There's like a range within each injury. So if we were to try to emulate the elbow issue that's going to cause him to miss the year with Tommy John, can we find like an elbow? Broken nail. Blister. Sometimes here I will just look for something that has the high amount of days and forget the actual injury. Arthroscopic elbow surgery. 70 days is not enough. Elbow surgery. I guess here we can go up to 254. So close to a calendar year, but still less. That would probably be the best way to like give a player that situation. I don't know if we can get anything above a 254. Bulging disc is a 254. That's probably going to be the longest for anything in the game. But this should allow you to recreate whatever injuries you need to for your franchises. And so if I like simulate a few days here in spring training, does it automatically, like, do they put him on injured list as they should? Yeah, now he's on the 60-day injured list, and you can see they put him on immediately. So the CPU will react to those injuries that you're creating. You got put on the list 8 days ago. That's kind of a good launching point in franchise then. So I will be going through all the major injuries that I can get good info on. I think like ESPN's fantasy page has like estimated return dates, and I can just use that as a pretty good guide. It's better than nothing. And how long is year one in our series going to take? Now, I can tell you that in my A's franchise, season 1 was 8 episodes, 2 streams. In the Cards series, it was 8 episodes. I feel like in Miami, as we play less full games, more critical situations, more player lock games, I doubt we have an 8-season year one. What would sound good to me is like 4 or 5 videos plus a stream, and then get to year 2. Obviously, you know, we're looking for the interesting storylines, prospects, the things that are worth playing out and seeing. But we're going to do a lot of simulating, moving from one year to the next, drafting, focusing on developing those prospects. And as we're developing the roster, I do want to do a lot of streams highlighting the prospects, episodes where we focus on them, because I think they're probably going to be the most interesting part of the team. So that's how we do the injury thing. I'm going to write a note because I'm going to forget when I'm doing it like tomorrow. So we need settings, general, injuries set to manual. Yeah, the Marlins do have some prospects. Let's go through their roster a little bit because this is my team this year. So Yuri Perez, 21 years old, outstanding player. Did not pitch in the majors last season. Sandy Alcantara. We have him on a really team-friendly deal for 3 years. So can we get ourselves in a position to do anything noteworthy by 2027? I doubt I would trade him prior to that. I would need a good reason to. But that's a very team-friendly contract. Braxton Garrett, someone said he's missing the whole year. I know he's hurt. So we're probably not playing with him in year one. Otto Lopez. All right, his overall and potential are better than I expected. Can play a lot of the infield spots. Good contact, vision, batting clutch. Really good in the field. So he's one player we're going to get to play with this year. Griffin Conine, 27-year-old outfielder. Made his debut last year. Anthony Bender, he was in my Cardinals series. Edward Cabrera. What's his injury status? Because there's another good pitcher here. I mean, oh, they got Weathers starting now. Interesting. I always think of... Oh, yeah, he was... What am I thinking of with Weathers? Because... he's never been a guy that's pitched like a lot of innings at a time. Anyway, with the starting pitchers, there are a lot of good players here. I might not have to focus on drafting and developing them nearly as much as on some other teams. There are a lot of really intriguing players here. Like Perez, Alcantara, Garrett. This could become the top 3 of a rotation. You do have down here Noble Meyer. He's probably going to have one of the better potential ratings, I think, of these guys. If we check out his potential here in attributes for batting, it is an 83. That's all right. Xavier Edwards is on this team. 99 contact and 89 versus lefties. Hit 328 last year in 70 games. So giving them like a Luis Arraez replacement. can play center, third, short, center, switch, hitter. I mean, he's going to be a fun player to have in this series. And it's now the second time I've had him in a series, too. Yeah, where this team really struggles is, like, power. So if we look at our contact ratings here, we have, you know, Xavier Edwards, 99, a few guys above a 70. And then against lefties, 2 guys over 80, including Derek Hill, who cannot hit righties. What are these ratings? So he's a platoon guy then. Should be platooning. That's ridiculous. And then for power, 75 and 75. Connor Norby might be the best power hitter we get at the start of this franchise. At least he can hit lefties and righties. Second round pick in 2021. Let me move my camera here. B potential, 24 years old, from the great state of Minnesota. I mean, he's going to be my favorite player probably right off the bat. 9 homers in 45 games last year. 438 slugging. 202 isolated power puts him in pretty good company. Anything above 200 is generally really good from a pure power standpoint. So if I just like check out what's their lineup look like in Miami. Lopez, Victor Mesa Jr., Xavier Edwards, Connor Norby, Jonah Bride, Jesus Sanchez, Griffin Conine, and his ratings aren't too bad either, honestly. You know, C potential, 27-year-old player. Augustine Ramirez behind the dish. He's a rookie. And Dane Myers in left. There is some speed, some defense, and contact on this team for sure. Not high-level contact in most cases, but there's some. Augustine was for Jazz Chisholm. Okay. Yeah, one thing that's cool, too, here in franchise that you can check on is, I have to find out where it is. It's one of those like hidden menus that's buried. But the transaction log, right, will show us how they acquired everybody. Roster history. So that's the Twins history. Let's go to the Marlins. 2015, they added Edward Cabrera and George Soriano. Otherwise, you can see that much of this 90-man roster has been added in the last 5 or 6 years. 2019 had some big contributions. Not really a busy offseason here for the Fish. Morlando. Morlando. Playing in Florida. That's just funny to me. PJ Morlando. I just typed in PJ Morlando. And want to know what pops up? Marlins prospect PJ Morlando sidelined after left elbow surgery. This team is so injured. This literally, there's news from 11 minutes ago on him. What does Fantasy Pros say? Underwent ulnar nerve transposition on his left elbow and will miss 8 to 10 weeks per team updates. There might be an injury as we speak right now. I hope not. But there are a lot of injuries on this team. And I'll try my best to edit them into the start of the franchise. That might take longer than I anticipated. I'll have to set aside a couple hours. Here we have some trades and who they were traded from. So, Connor Norby, this must have been the Trevor Rogers trade, right? I love some of the position flexibility on this team. Norby can play second, third, left, and right. Now, his fielding ratings will tell you not very well, but I like the flexibility. When do I plan on starting? I'm hoping to start working on it this weekend and drop it either, drop it this weekend or Monday. I do want to set aside some time to knock out a Jaguars off season here soon, but a little bit focused on baseball here for a couple days. Oh, Otto Lopez was a waiver wire addition. Interesting. A little bit of playing time in Toronto. Now here's that New York trade y'all are talking about. Watch the Sox hit big three, hit homers yesterday in the prospect game, and it has me all in on baseball now. For some reason, I thought you were talking about the White Sox, but I remember seeing Roman Anthony's home runs. You must be talking about who went yard? Meyer, Campbell, and Anthony? The rankings here are pretty good. They're not like 1-to-1 with what's on MLB.com right now, where Jenkins would be 3, but that's not really a huge difference. Roki Sasaki is an 86 with A potential. What I'm guessing it's not like a 90 for A potential either. 99 velo, 99 break. They should make an entirely new version of the splitter in the game to really match what he can do. Yeah, Roki is only a prospect via technicality. Yeah, I just see some of the names here at the top, and I'm really excited to see who gets called up this year. The Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are a fun team for franchise if you want a team that has a lot of good prospects that you could play with, because you got Roman Anthony here in the outfield. I mean, looking at his ratings, think like Aaron Dawn in my A's franchise if you watch that. Christian Campbell can play second, third in the entire outfield. Only 22 years old. And then at 14 here, Marcelo Meyer. I mean, that's 3 guys in the top 14. Meyer plays pretty much everything. That's as good of a prospect trio as you're going to see. Basayo, man, making me feel like he's far away. Travis Bazzano was just drafted last year, and he could see a quick call up at some point this year with Cleveland. We'll see how they manage that. I'm curious. He was a really high draft pick. Any Marlins on here? Noble Meyer is a top 100 guy. They might have a couple dudes, but they're... Okay, Starlin Kaba here at shortstop. That defense as a prospect is nice. I'm not used to getting that. You got to develop the bat. Yes. So how do they add him? So he is 19 years old. I have heard that defense is a greater priority in the game in terms of like I think contract demands and just different like weighting of value in general in franchise. Phillies trade Jesus Luzardo. Okay. And then Noblemeyer, who was their first round pick in 23, I believe. Yeah. It says right there. I mean, I was looking for it. I could have literally just like clicked here, and Kaba must have been an international free agent then. Noblemeyer, round 1, Oregon Duck. Can he have a Bo Nix like season here for us? First round Oregon ball thrower. Might be a while before this Oregon passer plays any playoff games. Didn't think a Bo Nix mentioning would happen here in the stream, but at 38 we got Thomas White, left-handed starting pitcher. Throws a fastball, curve, change-up, sweeper. And then we got Robbie Snelling, another starting pitcher. Second rounder in 22. How far away is Braden Montgomery? I also drafted him in my dynasty, so I'm kind of taking a look at some guys' ratings right now. He was drafted last year, like, I forget what pick overall, but pretty early. Yeah, in real life, Jack Caglione's like a 22 to 25 ranked prospect. Here he's a 71. Maybe they didn't want to make the first-year players as high rated. Augustin Ramirez here. We talked about him. A handful of top 100 guys, but it's really low to that pitcher, and we got to find a way to score some runs. And we know that we're not going to be able to, like, free agent sign our way to an offense. And perhaps one of the most stressful things early in this series, or not really early, but like once we get into the meat of it, how hard is it going to be to keep a team together? Because team budgets will, I believe, change as you're more successful. But I don't think I've really used a team like the Marlins before that are literally the cheapest team in the majors, lowest budget overall. So, and I know players are meant to demand far more money this year. Now this training menu, yeah, that's how it's always worked. I can never remember how to find it, but where can you find like the franchise overview screen where it shows like your club, how many Hall of Famers they have in the franchise, how many World Series titles? Like there is a menu for that in here and I can never find it. GM goals. Not this screen. There is a different one. Stats and then team achievements. Okay. Statistics. Because these are nested and it doesn't even show that they're nested, it's always hard to find this stuff. That's what I'm looking for. All right. 62 and 100 last year. 2 league pennants won, 0 division titles, but they have 2 World Series titles. Imagine that. 2 World Series, no division titles. No 100 win seasons. That is strange. Twins have only been a wild card once? Yeah, I guess in their good years, they just win the division or they fall apart and miss entirely. The Rockies have 11 batting champions. They've only been around since like 1990 or something like that. That's wild. I know it's a place to hit. One no-hitter in team history. Who has the Rockies' only no-hitter? And was it during that season where everybody was throwing a no-hitter and nobody cared anymore? Ubaldo Jimenez? Okay, that must have been a little while ago. 2010. Dodgers have 26 no-hitters. Padres have 2. I know Joe Musgrove had the first one. Who had the second one? That one probably was within the last couple of years then, because Musgrove's wasn't far away at all. Oh, Dylan Cease, that's right. The Rays, for all their pitching development, only have 1 no-hitter? But 2 Cy Young winners and 2 strikeout champions. How old would Maxwell Fowler be right now? My best guess would put him about 25. Just thinking about drafting him in like 2017 or 2018. Was it really Matt Garza? Wow. That is so random. The Blue Jays only have 1 no-hitter. Like, some of these teams have 20. And then just, like, some teams... I think every team has 1 now, right? The Padres are, like, the last one. Brewers only have 2. I remember they used to throw out this stat a lot, but the Buccaneers took like 40 years as a franchise to ever have a kick return touchdown. I forget who ended the drought. Yeah, I'm getting pretty fired up for baseball season, guys. The weather has started to turn here, having some incredible days out right now, like high 70s, low 80s, low humidity, low UV index. It's like unbeatable weather right now, and I'm ready for some baseball action. 4 days away from the first games at Japan series. Got spring training action going on. I have watched a little bit, not too much. Defensive runs saved as a stat. Let's see if they have any stats that man, defensive runs saved would be amazing. There is something I wanted to see in the stats, but I'll check for your request first. Errors, fielding percentage, innings, WAR, power speed number, runs created, range factor. I don't know if that's always been in here. Nor is it one I'm that familiar with. Can you show the full Guardians roster, please? Just briefly, I can pause stream to check it out. You want to see your Guardians? With Jose Ramirez, Emmanuel Clase, Cade Smith, Tanner Bybee. They took Carlos Santana from Minnesota. Hunter Gaddis, Stephen Kwan, Shane Bieber. He should be back relatively soon, right? Big Christmas. $13 homers last year. Plus, some big moments in the postseason, too. But yeah, they have this recent games tab on here now. I like that a lot. You know, one thing I wish they would do in the stats is allow you to look at, like, monthly splits. Like, rather than just the full season, I'd like to be able to cycle through, you know, May, June, or at least last 30 days to understand, like, player trends a little bit better. So I'm going to sim further, and I want to know how far back that goes, because I'm going to be using that a lot. I think it's a last 10. Yeah, you got 10 games here. And it does the totals. So I don't have a last 30 days, but I do have a last 10. That's something. I imagine this will also work for prospects during the season. Let's simulate to the start of the year. And I know the AAA season, yeah, it starts... Yeah, auto do all that stuff. Twins open this year on the road in St. Louis. I don't think I've ever seen them do that before. But it's not safe to play opening week games in Target Field because they'll probably get snowed out by another April blizzard that drove me crazy back in the day. All right, so we've gotten into the season here, 28 games. Twins in first place, as they should be. Yeah, this is neat to see the last 10. That's getting some use out of me. Then, you know, let's go down to the St. Paul Saints. Yep, those are all right there as well. AAA, MLB. Now, I'm hoping, like, if I call... Let me do a little experiment here. Because typically, you would call a player up, and then you wouldn't be able to see their minor league numbers anymore. So, if I call up Austin Martin, it still takes that away. But if I send him back down to AAA, I can see both. Like, just keep the tab there. I wish that was the way I just described. Where was your crash, Gladius? Was it in-game? It was in College World Series in the second inning. So it was in a player lock road to the show game. All right. I'll have to see if I can find some more crash reports and see if it's isolated or more widespread. A couple years ago, there were some crashing issues that were ironed out quickly. But I'm always, when these games drop, it doesn't matter what game it is. I'm looking like, all right, how's stability? Because I want to get rolling. And I don't want to have to worry about the game crashing while I'm making my first content. Does Target Field still blind you during a day game? I imagine that not much has changed in regards to that. Let's see. That's a 640. Let me get into a day game here. Let's just roll into it and see. I'll do a player lock game and see if it does anything weird. I like that little intro. Brooms out. White Sox seeking 3-game sweep. No. Oh. This is cool. Oh, I can click into all that. Okay. Okay. They might be cooking with this here. No, I wasn't done. Bring me back. I wasn't done. Oh, this screen has been adjusted. Press the bumper, shows prospects. I hit X to like fast forward it. I don't know if if I hit circle, if it would have been different. Can you imagine their best player here just bunting? Yeah, that's what the White Sox need. Get a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. That's what they're missing.
Leading up for the Twins, the third baseman, Lewis.
0-1. Ball.
Oh, that was a Luis Robert bunt. Indeed it was. The visibility seems pretty fine to me right now. I don't know what time of day is the... I mean, there are definitely some tough times in this game. Maybe it wasn't a noon game that was the biggest problem, but maybe by the final innings we could see the sun shift a little bit from... It'll be behind us a little. Might get there, though. I didn't slide for whatever reason. I didn't need to.
The center fielder, number 25, Byron Buxton.
One and two.
Oh. Oh, I got there. Bring me home. There we go. Base hit right field. We tack one on. Ooh, we came back on them. 5-4.
Lewis.
Interesting here. I'm holding down R2. You can notice I can check on some different things. I can't do subs and bullpen here when I'm in player lock, but I can do analysis. Why isn't it working every time though? Perfect, perfect. That's a 2-run single.
Now batting, center fielder, Byron Buxton.
Again, thank you to PlayStation for giving me a copy of the game along with the MLB The Show launch box. I showed off some of the stuff they sent me earlier today, including this Ellie De La Cruz signed baseball. I was gonna, try to get some hits in with Ellie in my first game, and you know how baseball is. Sometimes it ain't your day, and he went like 0 for 4. Sorry about that. That sign behind me I like a lot. I know I showed it off a little bit earlier. My camera doesn't do a good job picking up light sources. It just kind of washes it out, but that's like a light up LED MLB The Show sign.
That missed. That's a ball. 1-0.
Who signed the helmet? Oh, that's one of my good friends got this for me. Shout out to my friend Mike. This is a Harrison Smith signed Vikings helmet. This black and purple look is pretty sick. I wish they would bust out an alternate in this kind of aesthetic. I do like the winter. What do they call the Vikings, like all white Winter Warrior set? But yeah, that's a Harrison Smith signed helmet, who just signed back for a 14th year in Minnesota. I got some other baseballs and stuff back there because PlayStation has sent me stuff for the games in the past. So I have like a Jazz Chisholm signed ball there too. A few cards, like a Shohei and a Jazz card, and one with all three of the cover players for this game. My algorithm had forgotten you existed. Glad to be back. Yeah, I've never been one to really tame the algorithm all that well. I'll do my best to put out some good content this year, though. I'm excited to dive into my new Marlins franchise when we get that going here shortly. Ooh. Yeah, because Jazz was on the cover a couple years ago. I got a bunch of stuff over here. Not all of it is from them. This is actually from like 2008 when I went to spring training. So I don't know. He's got a pretty recognizable signature, if you know who he is. But that was signed by Kent Hrbek, who was on the Twins World Series winning teams back in 87 and 91. And then I have a bunch of other autographs on here, and I did label them. So the autographs on this ball, Kent Hrbek, Boof Bonzer, Craig Monroe, who was with the Twins for like a year, Jason Kubel, Matt Guerrier, Joe Nathan, Terry Steinbach, who was a coach at the time, Tommy Watkins, Drew Butera, and Armando Gabino back in 2008. And then they sent... Okay, this was the Jazz autograph card from MLB 23. Or the autograph ball. And then they gave a card here. This card is number 419 of 499. This was a Shohei Diamond Club card they sent when he was on the cover in 22. I have the Jazz one, another $4.99, and then this year has all three. Now I didn't have any contact with PlayStation last year, so I have nothing with MLB 24. But I got stuff from 22, 23, and 25 now. And then when I open my physical copy of the game here. You know I'm a physical collector, so I appreciate getting the physical copy very much. And these have one of 3 cards in them, one of the 3 cover athletes. And mine had the Ellie card, so I have the Ellie card and the Ellie autograph ball. I'm imagining they sent out autographs of all 3 players, and it was just like random who you got. But all my stuff is like Ellie oriented this year, which I'm a big fan of that. I mean, there wasn't really going wrong between Skeens, Henderson, and Ellie. I am loading into another game because, like, I want to see more of that presentation. Oh, we're going City Connect. Will your Chuck Johnson NFL Street 2 be a full mini series? I don't know. I might follow up with it later on. I know it was a weird time to drop it, but I streamed it a couple days ago, and I had nothing else to post yesterday, and I had already edited the stream. So I just kind of finished it off and got it up. Wanted to see how it would perform. But I probably will be playing more NFL Street 2, but I doubt it'll be immediately. All right. Kyle Hendricks looking to turn around a rough patch. Ryan Jeffers hitting 389 over last 9 games. I'm not sure if I can click into all of those. I'm guessing it's just like choose the one you want to click into. Ooh, the farm report too. Walker Jenkins. So if I click on this, they got him there in the City Connect uniform. I can go back to the farm report then. So this presentation edition was one of the big things they talked about this year, and I do really like this edition. And as someone who wants to go deep into my series, I can go and look at all 30 of my guys here in the top 30. First of all, I now have a way to view my entire top 30. Well, I guess we already had that. Yeah, we had the team rankings. The 16th farm system, so we always have that ranking on hand. ETA 2025. Like, there's just so much stuff for me to use in my videos. Albert gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much for that, Albert. Kane, you strike me as a Coheed and Cambria fan. New album today, a new MLB game. Today is a good day. I'm not familiar, but I will have to check it out and see if you were on the right track. An American progressive rock band from Nyack, New York, formed in 1995, incorporating aspects of progressive rock, pop, heavy metal, and post-hardcore. I could see myself liking that. Usually, if I'm just going to drive and I just wanted to throw something on quick, I'll just throw on Sum 41. So anything that's like Sum 41 adjacent would be a winner for future reference. So shout out to Albert for gifting the 5 memberships. Every month I do a channel member live stream where I sit down and I talk about, you know, what are my thoughts right now with the channels? What are new things that are coming? What are things I'm just kind of toying around with? And, you know, I just kind of like talk about the last month and things I'm going to be doing. And usually I end up playing a lot of baseball in those streams because it's a way for me to grab some more gameplay to throw into an episode. Lately, I haven't been doing a baseball series, so I wasn't, you know, playing that, but I definitely will be here going forward. They're about like an hour and a half long. And, you know, the memberships are just a way to help support the channel. This is what I do full time. And as always, it is totally optional if you want to support that way or not. Just being a part of the community here is surely enough, and I appreciate all you for joining me here today. Day 1 MLB The Show. Definitely be working on some stuff later today. Probably some videos I gotta get going on. Is the trade logic any better? So from a couple of the screenshots I was seeing, there were still some bad trades happening. I could simulate through this year and see what happens, and we could talk about it. Buffalo tonight, definitely not. I have nothing played for it right now. I will be focused on MLB The Show this weekend primarily. If you've played Rock Band 1, they did the song Welcome Home on that soundtrack, and it was featured in the Wii Rock Band commercial. I have played Rock Band 1, and I still... Maybe if I listened to it, I could, it would jog my memory. I play a lot of... I've gotten way back into Guitar Hero and Rock Band, by the way, in the last few months. I've been, so I used to play those games back in the day. Like, I really loved Guitar Hero and Rock Band. And then I stopped playing, you know, for a long time. And then as I got more into game collecting the last few years and I wanted some of this old stuff again, like I have some guitars, I got all the games, and I've been trying to rebuild my skills on it. I'm playing through every game on a hard difficulty now before I try going back to expert. And I just beat, for the first time last night, Guitar Hero 5. Because I had never played that one back in the day. I was already done playing those games. And so the next one, I want to start up Warriors of Rock. I never played that one. And I know they have Motivation by Sum 41 on that one, so I can't wait to play that. Anyway, how much of a reskin does franchise seem to be this year? I think it definitely has a pretty good facelift overall. I like the new look menus. I like this intro front end part of the game, looking at the different storylines and having a chance to highlight certain players here. Now, I'm sure this is even more interesting with commentary on, because they'll reference things about these players. But at least I can, you know, see them in the dugout, get these stats popped up. And this is going to be great for me doing my franchise content and having more production value, essentially, from these graphics to add on to it. It's going to be really nice for me. Been binge watching the Twins franchise, so I'm excited for this. That's the series that got it started for me. I've only done 4 MLB franchises, and the Marlins will be my 5th. Pablo's got to have a big year this season. I mean, his numbers look good last year, but consider he was allowing like a home run every game without fail. It's got to regress a little bit this year, right? Now let me pitch an inning with Pablo Lopez. Someone said the Twins' backstop was ugly earlier. What's wrong with it? What you got against the limestone? I know I struggled to put it all together with the Rockies. We were kind of the Baltimore Ravens of the major leagues, you know. We built up a great team. We could go to the postseason, but we did not have that postseason success. Former Marlin, ironically. Exactly. I was stoked the day they made that trade, and I've been stoked ever since. As much as I liked Luis Ariz, the Twins have not had too many pitchers on the Pablo Lopez level since the days of, like, Johan Santana. The Dodgers have been ridiculous in a lot of these series, but especially in the Rockies, they were making a lot of moves to bolster that team. I mean,
1-2.
was that the series they had acquired Adley Rutschman?
Ball, no.
He's even city connected the sign. Oh, man, Joe Nathan was another one of my favorites, man. I mean, when I was young, I didn't realize at the time that I was watching some of the best pitchers I was going to watch for the next 20 years.
Full count.
Yeah, I loved watching the Twins when I was younger, and then, you know, I think it was the trading away and not keeping around key players that pushed me away from baseball for like 5-6 years. Because, like, I watched the Twins pretty religiously through 2009. And, like, just one after another, like, my favorite players would leave or get traded. Guys like Torrey Hunter, Johan Santana, Carlos Gomez. And at that point, I'm like, all right, enough is enough. Even though 2010, like, they opened a new stadium. They had guys like Mauer and Morneau in their prime. They got Jim Thome. Like, I didn't really watch baseball in 2010. It was a shame to miss out on that year. And then I would barely watch them through, like, 2015. Really, it was, like, the Twins franchise, playing the show, playing some fantasy baseball that finally got me back in again. The only thing I feel like I'm missing was, like, that Baseball Tonight experience I had growing up. Like, that's one of my favorite shows growing up, just catching up on all the games around baseball. I do miss, like, the old Sports Center and Baseball Tonight days. Top 5 all-time WAR Angel, Torrey Hunter. Are you serious? I mean, them letting Torrey go was, like, one of the most heartbreaking sports moments for me all time.
Ball.
I always liked Tim Salmon. Yeah, they've had a few different, at least a couple different
Ball.
fish-named players in their history. Trout and Salmon. There's got to be somebody with the name Bass who's been on that team before, right? Just anybody. Are we down to like 2 episodes in Buffalo now? We could see more 2-episode weeks as I do ramp up the MLB content. I don't think it'll be the same every week. Like, I might even try alternating between like 2 Buffalo, 3 Buffalo, and then maybe like alternate alongside Jaguars. It depends what the Jags series looks like going forward, as we are now 6 years in. And it feels like now we are at the point where we're pushing, like, to see what happens now that the team is built up. You know, there's like the first chapter is the build. The second chapter is contending and trying to win that title. And the third is like, all right, how long do we stick around? Which tends to be when viewership drops off and it's time to speed the series up. So we'll see how that goes. But in general, I would like to, you know, if we can get it all wrapped up in the Jaguars series, maybe in April sometime, that would be great. Maybe like 50 to 60 total episodes. I'm not even really trying to play this full game right now. I'm just kind of in the zone right now as I give up an RBI double. But I'm still in the zone. See? I got him. Well, I'm not playing as the Twins in my true franchise. Otherwise, I would be keeping around Eddie Julian. I'm a fan. Yeah, I wasn't really trying to play out a full game here or anything. They are the only two with fish names. I learned that there is, in fact, an entire lineup of players with fish names throughout MLB's history. Really? Because I'm trying to think of, like, fish names that can sometimes be last names, and the best I could do is bass. But bass, salmon, and trout, what other fish are there? And are we allowing sharks into the conversation? AJ Pollock, wow. That is a good one. Anthony Bass, solid reliever, right? If he could just be an angel for a week. Does Minnow count? Yeah, I would definitely say that counts. Do you guys like the Twin City Connect? Like, they're definitely different, but, you know, like, blue's my favorite color, so I have a hard time disliking the uniform. I do like the font they use on the numbers. It does kind of have the Brewer color scheme a little brighter on the blue, I feel. Although, like, the Brewers, like the Brew Crew City Connects, the color scheme's nearly identical. The Brewers one might be a little more like Charger baby blue going on. The solid color men's softball pants kill me. Yeah. I get that. I still don't mind it. Gameplay feels good to me. As far as changes, I didn't really feel much different in my first, 12 innings or so of playing the game. Yeah, I'm not sure anything felt dramatically different. Did that do that automatically? Oh no, that's what's in my inventory. I don't use this feature anymore because it's a way to add on more budget for your team. So if you want that, go ahead. But for me, like, my entire idea is I want the budget to be tough. And I want restrictions. So I don't use sponsorships. It is a cool idea. I don't think it's a bad feature, but it just isn't for the style of play I do. Did I notice the way uniforms fit is way more realistic this year? Jarren Duran looks good. I don't usually have the eye for uniform and accessory stuff like that. There's a lot of people who would catch that in the first 10 seconds. And then there's me that was like, I didn't even know he was wearing a jersey. The Rays City Connect no longer work IRL? Let me check theirs out again. Does it have the Trop on there? What do you mean they no longer work IRL? I love that look. The black and green. It's a little arena football vibey, but I've always liked that color scheme. Yeah, the Rays have a good aesthetic. I don't like that. I don't like the 2007 road uniform. Oh, the jersey is St. Pete based. That's an interesting one. I suppose they're talking about like the logo primarily. Yeah, if I play with the Rays, where do we even end up? Do they just have... Okay, Tropicana Field is still in here. So, is there a... I'm sure somebody will create like Steinbrenner Field. And then I'll have to assign that in my franchise. Is this the A's stadium with a 14,000 capacity? Is this what it actually looks like in real life too? It's the Stadium of the Giants AAA affiliate. Yeah, for the Rays, I might just try to find like one of the minor league stadiums that fits the best. Although, like being with the Marlins in my franchise, I don't know how often where they play will come into factor. Ah, the old Metrodome. Man, this place kind of was a dump, but it was our dump. What a weird stadium. And what are they doing? Like, what were they doing with those mini, the screens there? Like, most stadiums have a nice big board. I mean, we're looking at old stadiums, so these are some of the worst examples of it. But the Metrodome screens were terrible. That is a high wall. Yeah, it's only 327 down the corner, so with the seats pushed in there, that's the best they could do. So they just have it go super high. And then that signage there, you know, that was so you couldn't just line drive a home run there. You had to get some lift under it. They called that the baggie, and they just advertised stuff on it. So advertising in the field of play, it was kind of ahead of the time, right? Here we go. Get ready for some Dolphins football in here. Old Atlanta, old Texas, the Kingdom. It is fun seeing these old stadiums. This one looks like it would be in backyard baseball. What is this? Who would show up to a game when that's the seating situation? Just give them lawn chairs in center field. What is this? Even those who are outside the fence in fair territory aren't even angled properly towards home plate. Should I stick the Rays here? Just make them play. Rupert Stadium opening in 1926. I don't even know where that is. It's in Newark, New Jersey. There we go, just a bunch of trees. That one's better. Forbes Field. Sportsman's Park. Sportsman's Park looks good. I like that one. Oh, but the Polo Grounds, I mean, you can't beat the Polo Grounds. What game did you discover this stadium? For me, it was probably like All-Star Baseball 2001 or 2002. And like inside the park homers to center, line drive homers down the line under 300 feet. I mean, there's just nothing like playing a game here. Put the Rays at Polo. Now that would be interesting. Now here are the minor league stadiums. Where do I want to stick the Rays temporarily? What resembles Steinbrenner Field, as I don't know exactly what it looks like. This might work. Majestic greens. Riverboat Field. I could see this one working pretty well. Where is it? I know it's somewhere in Florida, right? Tampa, Florida. Okay, at least it's in Tampa, right? It's not even in St. Pete. They can actually be the Tampa Bay Rays. Maybe this is good. Is it the Yankees spring training? Like, what is it normally? Who normally plays there? Like, the Twins play at their single A complex. Yeah, there are a lot of Florida-themed franchises. Their teams just seem to need a lot of help in a lot of cases. It is the largest spring training ballpark in Florida, so they have that. It's the home of the Tampa Tarpons. Single A. Okay. So are they just like scheduling that stadium's just going to get used every day? Pretty much. I mean, it's actually, I don't think it would be that difficult to schedule around minor league schedules because, like, AAA, well, I'm not sure if all levels do the same way, but I know AAA, they play Tuesday through Sunday, all at the same city, 6 games straight. Mondays are off days. So it's very predictable, and there's no, like, random, like, oh, we're home for 2 days here, and on the road for 6, home for 4, road for 2. I like the Porch. The Porch is a good stadium. Oh, a different field on the same grounds. The A's have actually forced the minor league team in Sacramento into a weird 20-day road trip. That sounds awesome. Crystal Falls Stadium. I could put the Rays here. Bayfront Park. Is there a boardwalk near Steinbrenner Field with a large Ferris wheel? We could just call it Rayfront Park. And it could be their home. It's right on the beach. That's what I'm talking about. Baseball was meant to be played on the beach, I've often said. Will Nashville get an expansion team? What are the top candidates for MLB expansion? To me, the number one would be the Carolina market. Either the Charlotte or Raleigh area. Nashville would be a good one. Montreal. Mexico City? Mexico City would be awesome. We would see so many high-scoring games there. Give Iowa a team. That's Twins territory, man. You know that. The Dakotas, Iowa, Minnesota. That's all Twins territory. Portland. Would that be too competitive with the Seattle market? Or were you talking about Portland, Maine? Let's get a professional team in Maine. The Maine Lobstermen. Hatch and Motor Field. I've never seen this one. Cooper Kupp's a Seahawk? Why? Why would Cooper Kupp sign in Seattle? That is so weird. Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, and what offensive line? I guess they drafted a couple guys, you know. That's going to be such a weird, newly looking team, you know. Now, he will definitely get targets. I didn't think he'd come to Minnesota where the pie would just, like, there's just too many mouths to feed there. So Devontae Adams to the Rams, Cooper Kupp to the Seahawks. Cooper Kupp to be Sam Darnold's #1 receiver, along with JSN. That'll be interesting to see how they use those two. Because I would have to imagine slot percentages on like JSN and Kupp are both pretty high. I'm actually going to take a little football detour here, and I'm going to figure that out. So, Cooper Kupp last year, 710 yards, 6 touchdowns. And let me see if I can find slot percentages here. So Cooper Kupp lined up in the slot last year 65% of the time. JSN lined up in the slot 83.6. So if you go 4 wide, like your Cliff Kingsbury, you can have 2 slots. That'll be an interesting one to figure out there. Jake Bobo, yes, Jake Bobo can line up outside, and he can run some wind sprints. Jake Bobo can play the Chris Hogan role. He can run 10 miles a game and get half a target per week. Just for fun, they should also sign Deontay Johnson. Double slot every down. Now, that is not where I thought he would end up. Can I get a Nolan Arenado for one time? Yeah, he was a good part of that series. He stuck around longer than I thought he would. The fall off wasn't too bad, honestly. Oh yeah, let's demo a little bit here before I end the stream and grab some food and work on some more stuff. So I wanted to just simulate a year. I'm on default like sliders and stuff. So I'd like to take a look at like injuries and also trades. So here we have Evan Phillips for J.P. Crawford. $79 closer for a $74 shortstop. I'm not really a huge quick counts guy. It does make games go by faster, but it makes the flow feel really awkward when you jump into the start of an at-bat and it's like a certain count. Not really my thing. Brent Rooker for Bowden Francis and Jeff Hoffman. So that is that's a pretty big trade there. And I'm curious what position the Jays are in to make a move like that. Leading the East, adding a big power bat, while the A's are at the basement of the West. Remember to check new off-season free agency. We are on our way. And thank you, Clarence, for the other super chat as well. Appreciate that. Give me some more trades. I didn't think that Rooker trade was that bad. It was just more so like the A's trading him sorely into a contract. The Orioles are offering us Ryan O'Hearn and Brian Baker for Griffin Jacks. So they're trying to get a reliever. And, okay, O'Hearn's a little too old for being a prospect. Yeah, they're trying to rip me off over here for Griffin Jacks. I get the spirit of it, though. I'll see if there were any other trades. Yeah, my Rule 5 draft was a Marlins series at the time. I'm not even sure why I chose them. Maybe it's because their uniforms are cool. Hey, we won the division. Oh, we're knocked out. And the Phillies have won the World Series. They swept New York. The Phillies are pretty nice. You like the menu ASMR? That's good. Let's see if there are any other trades that they didn't tell us about. Yeah, but we're not going to get ratings here is the only thing. Kerry Carpenter. That's a lot of trades here on the default difficulties. Yeah, it seems that the A's are going to be trading away a lot of these guys on the big contracts now. These are fresh deals, too. Lawrence Butler for Bobby Miller. I don't know. Looking at these, like, I don't think these are players that necessarily should be traded. But, like, the swaps that are being made don't seem that, like, off in terms of value. Like Edward Cabrera here for Ethan Salas. That's a big catcher prospect for a good young starting pitcher. That's an interesting move. Gary Sanchez for Gleyber Torres, a Yankee swap. Interesting move. I like to see more logic in terms of like what players make the most sense to trade away. Mountcastle for Nick Martinez. See, I thought the Twins would have been like an amazing candidate this year in real life to trade for Mountcastle. I think that would have been a nice move. I don't think he's a break-the-bank first baseman. Still, you know, including 25, 2 years team control. I don't know why the Twins didn't make a move. Not getting a first baseman when their best guy is CES. I kind of like to look into some player development as well and see what that's looking like. Where are the O's? That's right. So it was Martinez for Mountcastle. I don't know. I don't hate that trade for Baltimore. Gives them their third, fourth highest rated starting pitcher for a postseason run when they can play Ryan O'Hearn. I kind of get that. Kirilloff retired. J.A. Alex Kirilloff retired in the offseason. They got Kobe Mayo too. Was he included in that same trade? Or was it a separate deal? Okay, that was just a 1-for-1 swap. I like that trade that they made there. At third, who can play first? Got you. So yeah, I had seen some screenshots from other people's stuff like yesterday that, you know, weren't good moves. The ones that I'm seeing here in my first little simulation don't look, I think, all that bad at all in terms of value on return. Oh, you know what? I've had my injuries set to manual, so I don't think anybody's been getting hurt. That's, I think, the trade-off. Like, when you have manual on, you can create injuries, but I don't think new injuries occur. This is only a setting you use temporarily. I'll have to preface that if I make that video, that you do this at the beginning of a season, and then you set it to on. Let's see some player development then. Royce Lewis, who hit 28 homers, 100 RBIs, 778 OPS. Got some power and some contact up against righties. Good vision, just good boosts across the board. 2025 All-Star. Let's look for some growth. Like David Festa. This would be up quite a bit, I think. "24-year-old B potential." Pretty good WAR number. Yeah, numbers are good overall. 375 FIP. I was looking in the training earlier to see if you could train a guy's stamina at pitcher. It doesn't appear they allow you to do that yet. I wish there was more you could do with a player's stamina rating besides just like dealing with it or changing it. Yeah, I like having the recent games tab on there a lot. That's going to be something I reference, I'm sure, plenty in my series. I want to see, like, the Red Sox young guys here. Yeah, look at Roman Anthony's development. Plus 11 contact left. I don't know if we can see really what led him to that because it was probably all minor league development. But that's some sick development. Super pumped for more baseball content, Kane. Wish you would have picked the Pirates so I could at least see them be good in my lifetime. Yeah, the Pirates are one of those teams that are always interesting, but coming off of an NL Central year last year with the Cards, they weren't really considered. We'll see what the future holds, though. And if I can find, some fun ways to do any other rebuilds, like it would be fun to not just have my big one that I do, but also some smaller rebuilds that can allow me to see some other teams. And I know everybody loves the rebuild content, and I don't do a lot of what I think is more traditional on YouTube, like one-off videos, whether you're going 5 years into the future, 10 years. I would like to do more stuff like that, but it's figuring out a way to do that for me that's fun when I'm usually like sucked into all the details and I have a hard time moving at that speed. Yeah, we'll see some regression as well. Like here's Kyle Freeland, who really hasn't regressed here. Maybe I got to go older. Liam Hendricks. That's down pretty significantly. I'll roll this Chapman. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty drastic there. Let's get Trevor Story. Okay. So this one's interesting because usually we're thinking that regression is sometimes too powerful. Here, Story, everything went up besides speed, despite him playing 45 games, hitting 199. This is a pretty dreadful year. Let's try the Yankees. Goldie. See, he goes down a ton. This is 37, though. And he had a pretty good year. See, I feel like one thing they should look at here when they're determining regression is this year's production compared to the previous years. And if it's pretty much in line, a player's regression to me should be fairly minimal, but you can do some because of age. But in this case, I would prefer to see less regression out of Goldie because it doesn't seem appropriate. So I'm sure there seems to be a cliff. Like guys do fall off cliffs. I get that. A 37-year-old all of a sudden going down a ton is not the most egregious thing. Here's Giancarlo. I mean, some of it going way up. Contact lefties going way down. I mean, 31 homers. Not getting a high batting average, but you are getting some long balls and a minus 1.7 WAR. Wow. Yeah, 4 stolen bases. Could I pull up the clips of those? He was 4 of 6 on steal attempts. Man, signed through 27. He's going to be 38. 37, 38. I mean, that's how baseball contracts are. You pay for like those last 2 years might not be too pretty, but you're hoping that the first 80% of the contract returns investment. In a lot of ways, the NFL isn't a lot different with the way guys will restructure contracts. And, hey, those cap hits always come due eventually. And you can end up with guys, in massive cap situations 4 or 5 years down the road. But you have to maximize short-term windows in a competitive environment if you want to win. Yeah, that's been the case forever because you have to have 6 years major league experience to hit free agency on one hand, it would be nice if players signed deals in their athletic primes and not like at the end of their prime. But at the same time, with the way like the MLB pace system works with like market size, no salary cap, it at least does keep players, you know, on those smaller market teams for longer. The game does have pitch clock, yes. You can choose to use it or not. Let's see Andy Diaz here. So this is actually a lot of regression, I would say, at 33. Hitting 285, 361 on base. In a lot of ways, better than his previous year. You'd prefer to see not as much regression in that spot. Holy smokes. What did Lau do against lefties this year? Or he's Lowe. It's Nathaniel Lau, Brandon Lowe, right? Scherzer. This one ain't going to be pretty. 40. How about George Springer? 4s and 5s. No homers in 40 games. Gossman. It seems, for the most part, regression feels pretty random. I guess sometimes it looks as if like, oh, this player performed well and didn't regress much. That's good to see. But I'm not sure the two are always related. Because we've seen some examples here, like with Diaz, where his production was great. 33 years old, still regresses. It feels more random than anything. '24 Gold Glover. Who wins their first Gold Glove in like year 14? That is incredible what Carlos Santana did last year. Made his debut in 2010. God, this doesn't feel that long ago, guys. I got my YouTube career off the ground in 2011. It wasn't that long ago. Wins his first Gold Glove 2024 on a new team. No, I'm not the Guardians. I am the Marlins, but this is just a franchise where I'm checking stuff out. And speaking of, I wanted to get to the offseason to check some of the free agency out. So I'm just going to be mostly simulating our way there. All right. I'm glad they notify you that you're in free agency now and to stop simulating. All right, so just like with scouting, we get that 3 priority-based board. We can see who's available in the top 150. If a free agent is asking more than your budget allows, they will appear with a lock. And you got Vladdy asking for $27 million a year. Kyle Tucker asking for $34 a year. Framber Valdez, $29. Dylan Cease up closer to $28. Zach Gallen. This feels a lot better to have like 84 overall pitchers asking for $24 million. When in a lot of cases, I was signing, you know, like Dylan Cease caliber players for less than that. Let's get to like some fringe starters at this stage. Like, yeah, like a Lane Thomas, $17 million for an 82 overall outfielder. Like, it's been easier in past games to really just, you know, plug holes with like 80-ish rated guys on the cheap And their demands are a lot higher. And the team that I'm looking at this year is certainly not going to be able to afford to play that way. The Marlins have a $75 million budget. Like, everybody here is out of our price range in the Miami series when that gets underway. Willie Castro, $12 million a year, whereas it feels like a 77 overall utility man in last year's game, you probably would have had him for like $4 million a year. I don't think it would have been significant at all. The only one here that feels lower than it should be is Vlad's, oddly enough. Tucker's asking for 34, and they got Vladdy here, 27.3. I'm going to attempt to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. here to the Twins. So we can gauge their motivation. We can put them in the gold, silver, or bronze slots. Once the motivation reaches 50%, you unlock the ability to send them a contract offer. So we're going to make Vladdy one of our priorities, and we're also going to try to bring in Zach Gallen. And then I'll add like a lower priority. I'll do like a Willie Castro return deal. So we can kind of get some different levels of player here. 48. I'm guessing we have Willie's number because he was already on the team. I guess I want to experiment there and add someone else in that overall range that wasn't on the Twins. If I make it Chris Paddock, I'm guessing we already have some interest. Yep. All right. So that seems to be factoring in players that were already in your club. But like I said, I'm going to try to bring back Castro. I do like seeing the secondary positions right here on this page because a lot of times in the offseason, I'm trying to find that I want that information more. So Vladdy's asking for 27.3. Let's find out what he actually ends up getting. So we're going to set our positional needs, first base, starting pitcher. We can choose, what, 3 focuses? Okay. So that'll boost those players. And then our team needs, I'm going to say a power bat. That's going to boost the Vladdy interest. And then I'm going to say neither of these fit for a Gallen. Got to go righty then. Oh, you can see signings here. That's nice. Our depth chart. Oh, this is cool. So you can go to any position and you can click square and view that position. And now here's all the third basemen. We can switch it up here. Ooh, position breakdown. Oh, I got you. I can't click into like player cards from here, but I can at least get a nice visual representation of our positional depth here. Yeah, we talked a little bit about the Cooper Kupp news earlier. I saw it as soon as it happened. That's such an odd landing spot to me, but I guess they had the money. Sometimes when you can still play, you got some juice left, you want that multi-year deal still. I'm sure there were some good one-year offers on the table from maybe some better contenders, but you know, you wanted to have some weapons there for Sam Darnold, and now they got JSN and Cooper Kupp. That's going to be so weird to see him in Seattle. Kupp wanted to be home. I guess he went to Eastern Washington, so is he from that general area? Anyway, let's do some free agency business. All right, so I'm not worried about anything but those 3 guys. I don't know, it kind of feels nice to be more focused on just 3 at once. So I've done that. I'm guessing I just simulate 1 day at a time and check. Or how often does this work? So that was free agency 1, like the first 10 days. So the Guardians are looking at Josh Naylor. They're going to bring him back. We're going to say not interested. So now we got Vladdy at 39, Gallen at 68, and Castro at 51. So we can add, or we can offer a contract now to Gallen. So we know he's looking for $27 million. I really wish they would allow us to have the options on here and the front and back loading of the contracts. He's looking for 27.1. So if I increase my offer, then motivation to sign goes up. Likewise, if I lowball, motivation goes down, but I could still be in the running. And then where does it show? Okay, so the Rangers are interested, and then somebody else could be. Let's try to offer a contract then. Let's go up to 70% motivation. You made the first competitive offer to this top 25 free agents, so we got a 5-point boost there. Now 73% motivation. Now let's try to bring back Willie Castro. I'm just going to stick closer to his, like, base demand. And I cannot offer to Guerrero. So, it seems... Oh, that's still free agency 1. We wrap that up. Free agency 2 in 9 days. Ooh. Breaking news. Somebody just signed a contract. They're really keeping me waiting here. Zach Gallen. Double trouble. I'm coming to Minnesota. We have signed Zach Gallen. I can't mess with my free agent board right now. So is it no longer about the day-to-day? Ooh, Framber Valdez signed for $31 a year. Uh-oh, Willie Castro. He declined it. Okay, so that's kind of cool seeing the feedback at least, because in past games oftentimes, like, I wouldn't even know a guy turned it down or signed. If it wasn't one of the key signings, I just wouldn't get information. I would just go check my roster and he'd be there. So everything is now on a weekly basis. Here's a trade. Brandon Lowe for Nick Lodolo and Stuart Fairchild. Yeah, Scrawny Slugger, I was seeing some of your screenshots earlier on the trades, and they didn't look too good from what you were showing. The trades I've seen haven't been as egregious, and the value return I don't think has been a huge issue. Now, limited sample size on my end, but I am seeing trades that I can kind of get behind. We just had one where the Orioles traded away Ryan Mountcastle for, I forget what pitcher, but he was like an 84, 30-plus, one-year deal. It was a rental. They traded Mountcastle for a decent rental pitcher who would slot in as their 4. And I felt that was fine. 56 and 47. Still can't offer to Vladdy. Yeah, I think one thing that'll keep the bad teams from just getting these players randomly is this motivation feature. And, like, even us, a playoff team, you know, we have not been able to offer to Guerrero yet. I don't even know if we have information on if he has been offered a contract. I guess we'll see if and when I can make an offer, if it's the first competitive offer. All right, now or never. Another organization made the first competitive offer to this top 25 free agent. It is a last chance offer. Now, I'm only at 42%, but I can still offer a contract. Yeah, I'm more so looking at what the CPU does, like AI to AI trades, and I guess I didn't mind a lot of what I was seeing in year one. Granted, it's still a lot of guys on fresh deals that are getting traded. Like the A's seem to be very willing to trade Brent Rooker and Lawrence Butler. But I didn't hate the returns, at least. Like in my example, the A's traded Lawrence Butler for Bobby Miller plus a guy from the Dodgers. Anyway, that's the most I can offer. I have no more budget than that. So even though I wasn't able to get to 50 for an offer, I can still offer under a last chance deal. I still think you should have to reach 50 personally. I don't think I should have the chance to make this offer. He's an Oriole. Toronto fans, what do we think? And he does sign for 27. In general, I love that the player demands are higher, but I still think Vladdy's is too low. It should be 30 plus. Because I'm pretty sure in past years I was signing Vladdy for like 24. Like when I did sign him in my A's franchise, I'm pretty sure it was like 24. But across the board, I'm seeing other demands be really good. Like, I thought the Willie Castro one was... I just liked seeing a good utility player in the high 70s ask for 10. Because, I mean, these veteran players don't make $3 million a year. That's what a replacement level player tends to make. Dylan Cruz for Jackson Jobe. So that's like a star prospect for a star prospect. It'd be interesting if we knew who initiated the trade. Because I think that would be good information. Because you would see, all right, is this team just trying to get rid of depth? Or are they trying to acquire at a specific spot, but we don't know who initiated? So, like, my biggest issue is just, like, okay, you shouldn't want to trade that guy, but the return value-wise is comparable, which is an improvement to me. Lane Thomas for 17 a year. 82 overall. Like, that's definitely a much greater demand than we've been seeing. I did sign Lane Thomas in my Cardinals offseason. I wonder what contract I signed him to. I don't think it was nearly that high. I also don't know which offseason it was. I don't know if I should hunt it down right now. Yeah, fielding does seem to be more of an important variable. And for Willie Castro, I wonder if that gives added, like, value to utility players that have position flexibility. I have no idea. But I have heard that defense is more of a priority in this game. Speaking of Willie Castro, welcome back. 12.2 for a 77. Now, are other 77s asking for that much? And let's look at, they have him listed at shortstop, right? Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, what's he asking for? 10.8. Garrett Hampson, 8. And then we go down to 2 in the 75 range. This is interesting. Notice here, Hampson and Caballero are both 75, and the demands, $2 million versus 8. So what are the differences then? Hampson, position flexible. Hampson's also 2 years older. His fielding is actually really good. Caballero, that's playable. That's starting caliber defense, in my opinion. With the fielding rating, anyway. But that's a pretty wide gap. Hampson coming off a pretty meh usual season. Caballero, yeah, not great either. But I'm just curious what goes into the demand being 75% less. Service time? Okay. So Hampson, 6 years of service time. Caballero, 2. Okay. That makes sense then. Because usually, yeah, I wouldn't expect him to be a free agent here in this situation. That makes sense, though. So De Jong then looking for 5 as we go back to a higher service time player. Doesn't that feel pretty good, though? That, like, you know, De Jong, just like, he might be your 26th man on a certain team, but, like, you're not signing him for $1 million or something, like $5 million. And he even wants 2 years, so maybe you have to offer more than 5 to get him. So those demands, like, just seeing that makes me pretty happy. .73 overall outfielder asking for 5.3, Trevor Larnach. And that's with 4 years of service time. He's not even really free agent, typical free agent yet. And then you go down to someone older. He is a higher overall, though, Conforto. So let's find a couple guys then who have, like, abysmal defense. Who's someone whose defense would be really low? Now, we're in the top 150 prospects, so there might not be many guys that are just bad. But maybe some first basemen. I know Gallo, his defense should be good. What's he looking for? 6.8? Farmer, he's more of like a defense-only guy. Platoon against lefties, play defense at 4 spots. He's asking for 5. I think he's making about that this year with the Rockies, actually. $3.2. I also have no idea if this game accounts for, like, the natural inflation you see from year to year in different sports leagues. Yeah, where's Schwarber? I love Schwarber, but not because he's such a fun defender. Yeah, Kyle Schwarber, abysmal defense. Looking at $14.4 million. So give me a corner outfielder at 81. Or even Cedric Mullins here in center. So Schwarber asking for 14.4. Mullins not a ton different, but it is higher and his defense is better. In right, I don't know if we have anybody on that level. But man, $10 million for a Ramon Laureano caliber player. Yeah, free agency, I like the demands a lot more. That's a lot though. What is he even on right now? I would think like a minor league contract or like under $3 million. $4 million with the Orioles is what he's currently on. Yastrzemski has some defense. $8 million. That's at 75. Max Kepler, 9. Yeah, his defense is pretty solid. Jesse Winker. Good arm, but bad defense. And he's still looking for 8.5. Certain signings set the market too. Yeah, I don't know if there's any level of like the idea of a running back or, you know, in this case, like outfield market, shortstop market. I don't know if that actually, like, how that plays out. That would be some depth that I would find rather impressive. Interesting. Why do they have Griffin Jacks? Is it a service time thing again? Just 5.9 a year? I mean, typically a guy like Jax wouldn't be available, but I didn't bother to re-sign anybody, so that's why we're here. What if I throw top prospect Walker Jenkins here into the good old trade finder? 2 C potential prospects. I bet you'd make that trade. So this is a really good way to do trades if your primary goal is to get ripped off and get like nothing in return. Jeez. What happened to the Dylan Cruz, Jackson Jobe trade? Like, where's something on that level? All right, let me try trading a veteran. Carlos Correa, prospects. Hey, it's the same guys. What if I say MLB level? I'm going to have a hard time winning the trade if this is the route I choose to go. Manny Machado? Would this be like them trying to dump some salary? Do you have Xander Bogaerts still? I'm excited to get the real franchise underway soon. I think we saw some good things there, primarily with the free agency and stuff. But that is going to do it for me here in this stream, everybody. Day 1, MLB The Show 25. Again, thank you to PlayStation for sending me a copy of the game, along with a whole bunch of cool stuff in the MLB The Show launch box. So I really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to another year of baseball content on the channel. And I hope to get this Marlins franchise up and running soon. And I'd also like to have the chance to sit down and play around with Road to the Show and check out the high school and college side of that and see what's happened. Because I haven't played Road to the Show now since my Sidney Jean-Charles series. But it might be fun to check out for a little bit. If you enjoyed the stream, please leave a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And be on the lookout for more MLB The Show franchise content. It's become a big series for me the last 2 years, and I am looking at hopefully launching a really fun one this year very shortly. Take care, everybody, and I will see you all next time.